morning. It is a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. Ravens-Bengals tonight. That means immediately following the game, you got to join us for Project Game Day. Myself, Rita, Femi, KZ, probably Andrew Stecca, Josh Shows. They got a great crew that we hang out with every game day this season. Come hang with us. PressBoxOnline.com/gameday, Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline for Project Game Day, which is brought to you by AJ Michaels, Superbook Sports, and HelpMyGamblingProblem.org. I was going to check that off on my sheet, but I just realized I don't have a sheet, so that would make it awkward. Coming up on the program, big day. We got Ken Zalis. We got Mike Sando from The Athletic. We've got
you and I.
All that coming up this morning here on GCR. What happened there? We'll just have to do it ourselves. I'll be your analyst today. I'll give you your breakdown. Bengals run defense stinks. Run it right up their throat. I really am expecting a little bit of overcompensation tonight. Like, I'm expecting that. It's something I was joking about with Jeff Zrebeck last night, and in the Greg Roman era, whenever there was a complaint about something, you could almost be sure that, like, the next time out, they were going to wildly overcompensate for it. And then we saw earlier this year, everybody was like, "Oh, you're not getting the ball to Odell Beckham," and he hasn't scored a touchdown. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's an Odell Beckham like a forced Odell Beckham touchdown. I have this, like, funny feeling that they're going to overcompensate, particularly with Keaton Mitchell tonight. Now, I don't know that that's a bad thing because, again, the Bengals' run defense ain't good, which is weird. I don't really know why it's particularly taken a step back this year. Safeties aren't very good, as we were talking about with Rocky Boyman yesterday. I think that's a big story going into tonight. I still think, like, the biggest story is, does Mike Macdonald really have the Bengals' number? Has he really figured something out over these 4 meetings over the last 2 seasons? Because if that continues, then you're going to really like the Ravens' chances. But if that's just, again, an anomaly, much like we talk about the possibility that the Ravens' letdowns have been an anomaly, if that's all it is, then I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know that I like the idea of a desperate Joe Burrow-led team, even without T. Higgins, still Jamar Chase, still Tyler Boyd, still plenty to offer. I don't love that going into tonight and Ravens-Bengals. We'll talk about that throughout the course of the morning. As far as last night's concerned, Blake Snell, Garrett Cole win the Cy Young Awards. Kyle Bradish finished 4th in AL Cy Young voting, which is something.
Yeah.
I'm not cool. I don't think you get to hang that on the mantle. I don't think they give you like a.
Just put that on the outfield wall. Put that on the wall.
Yeah, we're number 4. I don't think that's the way that it works. Although,
AFC semi or AFC finalists.
Right, the Indianapolis Colts could maybe hang that banner today, I guess. I don't know, man. Like, bully for him. It was something that I talked about during the year. Like, it was weird to me that there wasn't more conversation about the season that Kyle Bradish was having, but such is life. It's a bummer that didn't continue in the playoffs, but again, kind of what it is. Nothing you can do about it now, and you hope this goes back to remembering where we were late in the season, like thinking ahead to next year. You're hoping that a triumvirate of Kyle Bradish, John Means, and Grayson Rodriguez at the top of the rotation is a triumvirate that you can have great faith in going into the 2024 season. You would also hope the Orioles would do their best, come hell or high water, to add, like, one more. Whether that's via trade or free agency, you would hope that there is one more high-level starting pitcher. And if that were the case and all 3 of those guys can back it up, well, then you're cooking with gas. And that's even, I'm not saying Dean Kramer can't be a part of it. It's just that there are 3 guys that are definitively kind of separated, and then you're hoping that the Orioles will upgrade the pitching around them. But it was a hell of a season for Kyle Bradish. It was it was one of those things that out of nowhere you looked up one day in like June or July and you're like, y'all see what Kyle Bradish is doing right now? Anybody else? Hey, Jim, you notice that? And you were like, am I living in a crazy world? It doesn't seem like anybody's talking about this. But bully for Kyle Bradish, and good for him for being recognized, at least to the extent that he was, in finishing 4th in Cy Young voting. Again, I'm not really sure like if he gets a cake or something. I have no idea.
Certificate,
how that works.
maybe. Yeah.
I'm in favor of it, for the record. I'm not opposed to that whatsoever.
To him finishing in 4th.
Well, I'm not opposed to him getting a cake. I'm not opposed to there being some sort of. It's an accomplishment. All right. I think we've talked enough about Kyle Bradish finishing 4th in voting for the Cy Young Award. College basketball last night. Unfortunately, everybody on the losing end. Loyola losing to Binghamton, Morgan losing to Fresno, Coppin losing to Louisville, which I hate to say it, that's embarrassing. No way getting around it. I mean, they lost by 20, so like maybe they kept it close like UMBC, but they lost by 20. So Louisville stinks. It's like losing to a MEAC team at this point.
Is it worse? Yeah, I guess it is worse to get blown out by Louisville than to lose a game maybe you should have won like UMBC did.
Yeah. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
What am I? Why did I spend a second thinking about that? That's the dumbest question that you've ever asked. What the hell was I doing there? I'm like, maybe Griffin's good. No, you don't have a point at all. Draymond Green gets a 5-game suspension for his shenanigans. He put Rudy Gobert in a chokehold the other night. We didn't even really get to talk about it yesterday. It's just so
Had a quick tidbit on it, yeah.
It's just so stupid. It's just all. I actually have genuinely loved all the conspiracy theories. Like the conspiracy theory that was floating around yesterday that Draymond Green just sort of hates Rudy Gobert and was looking for an excuse. And, like, somebody on Twitter had receipts. Like, went back of Draymond Green taunting Rudy Gobert about crying over missing the All-Star team years ago, and he kept bringing it up year after year. That one, to me, isn't as juicy or as good as the conspiracy theory that when Steph Curry doesn't play, Draymond Green doesn't want to play either. I did like that one. That one,
Draymond's going to get himself ejected in this game.
Like, and there's like history of it. Like when Steph Curry doesn't play, Draymond Green is just disinterested. Like, well, we're not winning anyway, so the hell, I'll just go ahead and check myself out of this one. Now, this one comes along with a 5-game suspension, so I don't know. I don't follow the Warriors close. I don't know if Steph Curry is going to play the next 5 games.
What, Steph's out for 2 weeks?
Yeah, right?
Well,
see ya.
Guess I'll just choke out Rudy Gobert.
Don't mind if I do. I mean, it's wild, man.
And we play Rudy Gobert tonight? Oh, this is perfect.
Right, yeah, everything lined up. And then there's a tussle between McDaniel. As soon as McDaniel starts tussling with Klay Thompson, he's just like, where's Rudy? Like, what? This guy's not even the guy that's fighting. The hell's going on? He's just such a weirdo. And, like, you want to call him a clown and you want to trash Draymond Green, but it's such a complicated conversation because, like, you acknowledge the dude's going to the Hall of Fame. We can laugh at him all we want, and we can talk about like a weird piece of modern NBA history he is, but he's a basketball Hall of Famer. And at least one of those championships, arguably more, they don't win without him. It's bizarre, man, and you can't even define why he's great. Like, there's nothing that you can hold up and say, this is what makes him great. Part of what makes him great is that he is a goof.
That he's willing to put somebody in a chokehold.
Yes. Like,
for Klay Thompson.
It's part of that he's been willing to be like a hockey goon. And you can't, if you're not a Warriors fan, you don't root for him. You're like, oh, God. Draymond Green again. Like, I'm sick of his ass.
If you're a Warriors fan.
If you're not a Warriors fan, I said. If you are a Warriors fan, you're like, yeah, but he's our goon. It's just, and like he's goofy. It's not even like he's. Oh man, it's hard to talk about Draymond Green. Like, and the place that he has in basketball history, it's very bizarre. A lot of people think the 5 games wasn't enough. Like, he put the dude in a chokehold. Rudy Gobert said, like, if he actually knew how to choke, it could have been bad. And, like, 1, funny. But 2, I don't know. Maybe. Like, I don't think Draymond Green was intentionally trying to, like, maim Rudy Gobert.
I mean, he did, like, tighten up on it as
He
got a
did.
better
but, like,
angle.
Man, it's so weird.
I mean, I guess because when you think about it, it's like only 5 games. I guess that's...
Yeah, like, I think one of the things I was talking about with Rita last night is, like, there's no precedent for this.
Right.
They can't go back and say, hey, what's the last thing we did for a guy that put another guy in a chokehold? What was the suspension we gave out for that one? Like, they have no precedent to fall back on. This is, like, a lot of guys have thrown punches. A lot of guys have done other things. They have
Ran to the crowd, yeah.
They have nothing. Yeah, correct. They at least have that. They have nothing to fall back on in this circumstance. They go into the office. They're like, hey, pull the book out. Do you guys remember? When was the last chokehold suspension? Hey, Dave, what do we do for that? Was that? No? There wasn't a Horace Grant chokehold? You don't remember? And I'm not saying there wasn't one at some point in basketball history because Lord knows I don't know all of basketball history. But that had to be a bit difficult in the NBA office for them to try to figure out exactly what the suspension should be for Draymond Green. And, like, really, they should, when they announced the suspension, they should have just put Draymond Green is being suspended 5 games for being an effing weirdo. Like, that's how they should have announced it. Because I can't for the life of me figure out what this was other than you're an effing weirdo. So there it is. So it be, if you will. Draymond Green gets a 5-game suspension. And then as far as the injury report going into Ravens-Bengals tonight, a couple of things. So the bad news, the follow-up on Would You Rather Wednesday yesterday, is that it doesn't look like the Ravens are going to have Ronnie Stanley or Marlon Humphrey. Ronnie Stanley, we know, has been declared out. Marlon Humphrey has been declared doubtful. I got to be honest with you, I'm not really sure why those different designations continue to exist. Like, the number of players that have actually played that have been listed as doubtful, why don't you just list everybody doubtful? Why is there an out? Just list everybody as doubtful.
He's got practice full this week, but, you know, there's a 1%
No, I
doubt.
mean, like, if they're not going to play. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand why there's a difference between doubtful and out as far as designations are concerned. So that stings, clearly. The good news is that John Simpson got back to practice, because it is a short Thursday night week. John Simpson got back to practice, so it doesn't appear as though they'll be missing the entire left side of their offensive line. And with Morgan Moses slated to return, you're just kind of flip-flopping Patrick McCary, and he's going back to left tackle. That would be more troublesome if you were facing Myles Garrett again, because nobody had an answer for Myles Garrett. Trey Hendrickson is very good, but we don't know that he is at 100%. He is going to play. He doesn't even have a status. The players that will be missing, however, significant. We mentioned T. Higgins. Sam Hubbard is going to be out, and one of the guys that probably would have picked up some of the load for T. Higgins is Andre Josevich, and he's out as well. So they are depleted at wide receiver. But again, it's easier to be depleted at wide receiver when you have Jamar Chase at the top, Tyler Boyd to line up on the other side. Easier to make up for it. The Ravens also without Trenton Simpson, but not a major contributor, and everybody else looks like they'll be good to go tonight for the Ravens against the Bengals. The loss of Ronnie Stanley significant, clearly, as we talked about yesterday. Without Marlon Humphrey, you're asking Rock Ya-Sin, Brandon Stevens to go up against those two dudes. Probably Kyle Hamilton helping out a little bit in that department. Those two dudes. Jamar Chase, you don't really want to have anybody in one-on-one coverage against him because he's Jamar Chase. I wouldn't really love it if Marlon Humphrey was in one-on-one coverage with Jamar Chase. I'm not sure if you've heard, Jamar Chase. He's good at this. He's a little bit different than everybody else. So that'll be part of the thing that Mike McDonald will have to figure out tonight if he's going to continue to have the number. Yes?
You would hand me the remote.
No. I don't need to see him. Why would I want to see him? He's ugly.
I also need to call John. John in Little Rock really quick because I have not gotten an answer from him for his selections today.
Wait, he hasn't made his picks?
No.
And you're just noticing this now?
No, I noticed it earlier, but I have not. I texted him. I had nothing back yet, so I gotta
Make sure he's okay.
Right.
What, do you want to take a break and then we'll do all this?
I guess we can if you want.
Is he okay? Can he wait through a break?
Yeah, I'm sure he can sit.
Griffin apparently didn't finish the producing this morning, so we need we need a minute. No.
Typically, what I did say.
Today's show brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. BuyAToyota.com. The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out BuyAToyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today. We'll make picks with KZ next. Glenn Clark Radio.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Todd Karpovich profiles the Orioles' survivors, Anthony Santander, Austin Hayes, Cedric Mullins, and Ryan Mountcastle, who all came from the previous regime but stuck through tough times to be key pieces in guiding the franchise back to prominence. Also inside, we remember the iconic Brooks Robinson with tributes from Jim Henneman and myself, Stan the Fan Charles, and a trip down memory lane to remember the most significant moments of his career. Plus, we meet players from college basketball programs around the state. Pressbox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Visit Harford County. Gear up for the holidays by supporting local with Small Business Saturday on November 25th. Take in the dazzling sights of the season with a Ladue Christmas at Ladue Topiary Gardens. Enjoy holiday lights, sing along to holiday songs, reserve a carriage ride, and sit on Santa's lap in Bel Air's Winter Wonderland, happening every Saturday from November 25th until December 16th. Nothing sparks that holiday joy quite like a festive parade. Head to visitharford.com and click on Events to see the full list of parades and so much more. In Maryland, you're welcome.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
There's so much focus on sports betting these days, but I want to talk about an area that nobody wants to gamble on, where you choose to go out and spend your hard-earned dollars to eat. The Costas Inn is no gamble at all. The quality on their menu is outstanding, and the value is off the charts with a great and varied list of specials Monday through Friday. And the staples of the menu, whether it's salads, burgers, fish, they're all fantastic. And I haven't even mentioned the crabs or crab cakes yet. So check out the menu for yourself at CostasInn.com. When choosing a place to dine, never gamble on the food you put in your belly. The Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or call 410-477-1975 for reservations and your steamed crab orders.
6 chicken tenders made from fresh, never frozen Royal Farms world-famous chicken, a family-sized order of Western fries, honey mustard dipping sauce, and a 2-liter bottle of Dr. Pepper. It's Royal Farms' new Tucker's Tenders Meal. It's Justin Tucker's favorite, and at only $19.99, it'll be your favorite meal, too. The new Tucker's Tenders Meal, available only at Royal Farms. Now you can kick back, relax, and eat like a champion. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
Come for a game, stay for everything else. Book an unforgettable fall getaway in Charm City. Enjoy only in Baltimore festivals, mouthwatering eats, and endless entertainment. Treat yourself to a staycation in the heart of downtown, or try one of the city's many charming neighborhood hotels. And don't miss out on packages for free parking, breakfast, and more. Plan your stay at baltimore.org/hotels.
Don't forget about Project Game Day after every Ravens game this season. It's kind of like this show, except Rita's also there, so I actually think it's pretty good. But hey, you're already here now, so why don't you go ahead and keep listening to GCR.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Thursday edition of the program. And every Thursday, we like to make some picks. Joining us now for Fantasy Pros, he is our friend Ken Zalis, and he's back with us on the program. What's going on, KZ? How are you?
I am good. How's everybody today?
Everybody's all right. Well, ask me again when we talk at 11:30 this evening. Ask me how I'm doing.
Yeah, if I'm still awake, I'll ask you.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be an interesting night ahead as the Ravens take on the Bengals. Hey, so I wanna do the bit. We call this playing fantasy defense, right? So I was able to do it in one league where I picked up Aaron Rodgers just to not because I think I'm gonna play him, but just because I don't want anyone else to have the opportunity to pick him up in the playoffs, right? So he's available in another league. And right now, this is maybe one of the more awkward rosters that I have. I'm playing Pacheco, Gibbs, Waddle, Moore, and Nakua. And then on my bench, I have Singletary. And this is the league where I have there's no IR spot, right? I have Singletary, Kyron Williams, Keaton Mitchell, Justin Jefferson, and this is the league where I just got Dallas Goedert back because I'm playing Joku as my tight end right now. Can I release anybody to go pick up Aaron Rodgers, or do I have to say that that's a wasted spot at the moment?
I think that I don't think you do. I mean, Singletary makes the most sense because Pierce at some point comes back and then that's just a mess. But is it any messier than Keaton Mitchell? I mean, if we weren't in Baltimore, would you be dropping Keaton Mitchell? I don't know. I don't really think you have room for him. The way running backs go down.
Yeah,
and I just, it's a nice thought. Aaron Rodgers is a lot of things, but he's not more advanced human being than the rest of us as far as healing time.
Are you sure? Are you certain about that?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty
be.
sure because every time he talks, he backs off of what he says. So I'm not. I wouldn't be in a rush.
I'm not in a rush. It's just this is the type of thing that I think that I'm clever, and so I want everybody to be like, that son of a bitch, he got us. He got us. I just like that feeling.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Go pick up Michael Carter instead.
I don't really think I want Michael Carter. I think I'm good.
Okay.
Who picked him up? Arizona picked up Michael Carter.
Yeah.
At my flex, I think I almost want to start 3 tight ends this week. I got Trey McBride, Dalton Schultz, or Calvin Ridley at my flex.
McBride, you got to start.
You got to start McBride. All right. So Ridley on my bench, Dalton Schultz on my bench.
Schultz doesn't bother me at all. I mean, I know people are. It just tells you how bad tight end position really is that people are talking up Schultz and he's been pedestrian. I mean, Ridley, until he does something, is tough to trust.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been awful for almost 5 weeks now. Even with some other wide receivers not playing, he hasn't been good.
Yeah, what's the story with Zay Jones? What's going on?
I mean, it's same as last week. He could play. He hasn't fully practiced yet, but we're only on Thursday.
All right. Very good. Let's get into picks for the week. Picks are brought to you in these lines that we'll be using, a courtesy of Superbook. You use the code GlennClark23 when you sign up at Superbook. You will receive up to $250 in a same-day first bet match, win or lose. And really, this season, if you've bet with us, for the most part, you've been in the money. Of the original group of 10 that we had for the full season, only one person is below 500 for the year, which is, I would say, historic for our picks contest.
We were horrible last year.
We have never
100% historic.
Never been doing this well collectively this deep into the season. It is crazy. So for the most part, if you've been betting with us, it has been at least profitable for you this season. If you've been betting with Paul Valley, that's not the case. He is currently sitting in Scott Stat position, as if the original 10 are all 1 through 10. If Jeremy Kahn finishes at the bottom of the table, then the loser among the 10 is going to have to go to see Creed, is going to have to go to a Creed show by themselves next summer. Currently sitting in Will Levis' position is Jeremy Kahn, as he came in late, but he was full of piss and vinegar when he walked into the contest, and it's just not happening for him. He's still 18 games back, and the season's getting away. We're approaching Thanksgiving at this point. Jeremy Kahn, if that continues, he will be the one that has to put on the Notre Dame mascot uniform. And then take an Irish dance lesson. Come in and perform that Irish dance. Also perform Zombie and Nothing Compares to You. And enjoy some blood sausage, haggis, and tripe. Wash it all down with a Will Levis Irish coffee. He says he's prepared. He says he's willing to do it. He also said that he'd take extra Irish dance lessons on YouTube on top of it in order to try to really wow us. So I would look forward to that. But there is still time for him to try to claw out of the hole. At the top of the table, we find KZ and Nick Kelly tied at the moment at 53 and 42. Just a game in front of myself and John in Little Rock, 2 games in front of John Proctor and Kyle Ottenheimer, 3 games in front of Andrew Stecca, 5 ahead of Griffin Bass and Paul Valley. Now, a couple of things today. One, we apparently have not heard from John in Little Rock. I'm concerned. It's not like John to do that. I love John, and John, I love you. I hope everything's okay. Because I'm assuming there's probably something wrong, then we will extend. I don't think this is John just forgetting.
Yeah.
We will extend until I don't think he's doing this to try to find out what everybody else's picks are. We'll give him grace ahead of tonight's game. And again, I hope everything's all right with our buddy John in Little Rock. I hope there's no problems going on there. But we will, given what I know about John, we will give him grace on this one. We will not immediately give him a 0 for the week and shift the contest. If this was Kyle Ottenheimer, I would not feel the same way. That guy, I would believe, is cheating. That's what I would do with that. We got 3 college games, 6 NFL games to pick, as we do every week. Where are we starting this week?
Plus our side bet on the line.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about the side bet. So is everybody in on the side bet?
Ryan Shell is not.
What? He said no?
No, he just hasn't acknowledged it.
Did
so.
you text him?
I emailed everybody. So he had
just tell Ryan he's in.
I mean, this is what a weirdo. Maybe he has some sort of health. Maybe he's lactose intolerant. If he is,
well, so what?
Fine. No, just tell me that, and you don't have to do it. Why is he such a weirdo?
Nick Kelly is in.
He's
joined in.
And then everybody, John Proctor's in.
Yes.
Paul Valley's
Proctor's
in. Kyle's in.
Kyle's in. Jeremy's in. Drew is.
All right. Yeah.
He has
so Drew,
no need to make picks.
Drew's not making picks. Drew has said that if either Paul Valley, I don't know why he's got a war with Paul Valley, or John Proctor wins, he'll pay the penalty with them.
With the loser, whoever loses.
It's very, what a weird bit. He sent me that text at 7 this morning. I'm sitting in bed what am I reading?
I didn't understand it when it was posted online.
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing. So dumb.
I still didn't understand it.
What? He's just such a weird. Why is everybody such a weirdo?
Well, I love that I texted him last night. He slept on it and was like, you know what?
Yeah, I'm not gonna make some picks. That I'm not gonna do. I think he's just, whatever. I think he's gonna end up eating one of these things anyway. He's just very excited about it. And then did you hear from Arditi?
He is out for this week.
This guy gets on Twitter oh, it's a shame you didn't include me. I'd love to do that. No, that guy we might fire that guy at some point. So the deal is loser and ties. So to the point, if everyone goes 5-4 this week, if the entire league goes 5-4, we're all losers, and everyone has to consume a McDonald's double cheeseburger with a Oreo McFlurry dumped on it, which is apparently how Jameson Williams consumes food. And I don't care. Those of you that are just out here openly saying well, that doesn't seem so bad. Seek help.
Yeah.
Ryan Shell.
What does it say?
It says, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
All right, thank God. I mean, why did it have to be? He was responding on Monday and would respond he's sending Jameson Williams. I'm would you just say yes or no? Why is this so hard? What has happened to the society? They got a lot of problems.
So Stetka's not in.
What do you mean he's not in? He said no.
I mean, he hasn't.
Text him.
Oh my God.
Griffin, you're the producer. Why is it? Ken, am I crazy?
No. He's got it. This is the segment. I mean,
jeez.
I don't know what we're doing here.
He just doesn't have answers for me.
Here's what I know. I haven't made a pick yet. I've been on for 15.
All right, let's get to it. Make some damn picks.
Michigan, where Big Noon Kickoff is.
Yeah.
Taking up all the parking and space at
they are taking up all
College
the
Park.
I don't know where I'm going to park. I got to go down for AJ Francis' food
yeah.
drive. And
You have to get there.
I do
I
think
guess it's probably too late.
I do think, based on a text I got this morning, that they might be allowing AJ to appear on Big Noon Kickoff on Saturday, which I appreciate to promote the food drive that we'll be doing. And please, if you're going to the Maryland game on Saturday, please bring your non-perishable food items to help benefit Sarah's House. We will be collecting them at every gate ahead of the game. If you can't make it to the game, again, either hit me on Venmo or PayPal, or just hit me up on Twitter. Just say, hey, send me your info. And I'm going grocery shopping tomorrow, and I'm going to clean stores out of their ramen noodles in order to take them down and get them donated to Sarah's House. So it'll just mean more ramen noodles. So please hook us up or swing by the studio in order to hook us up for AJ's food drive. All right, go ahead.
Michigan at Maryland. It is at noon on Fox, and the Wolverines are 19-point favorites.
That is extraordinary, isn't it? This is really testing me now. Michigan, what are we doing here? Michigan, I can't pick. How can I pick? I try to think about if it was like 19.5 is a massive number, and it really did make me think about it.
Well, it's 19 even. So
what?
No hook.
It's just 19.
No hook, yeah.
Well, now that you say it that
way.
Yeah,
exactly.
It kind of changes everything. And we don't know yet if Jim Harbaugh's coaching in the game. We don't know any of those things.
Maybe John will come down.
That was, I think, Pat McAfee was pushing that yesterday. Man, it almost seems irresponsible to bet a team on the road that's 19. Michigan, what are we doing here? Go ahead, Ken.
Michigan.
Yeah. Yes.
You're taking Michigan. Didn't you email me Maryland? I thought I was like, what? But I do believe Ken when he says.
Yeah, if I did, it was late night and I hit a D instead of an I.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what do I want? I want to feel a lot better since they got that big win in Nebraska. But yeah, I mean, you don't. I don't believe. I still don't believe in this Maryland team right now. So yeah, Michigan by more than 20. Most of us, also John in Little Rock did just get back to me. He's a little under the weather, but he did just get me his picks. So he's doing good. Right. He's on Michigan. We do have a couple Maryland backers. On Maryland will be John Proctor, as well as Andrew Stetka and Jeremy Kahn.
It's an insane number. I get it. Like they could be down by.
Really an insane
yes,
number?
It's an insane number.
Did you expect it to be larger? I mean, let's be honest.
No, I didn't expect it to be larger.
You really did.
I didn't. This is 19 and it's nuts.
I would like to see them never throw a pass this week.
Michigan just never, not a single pass. Like
just run the ball every play.
Maryland could be losing 41-17. And just goof their way into a backdoor cover still. Like, that number's nuts, but I get it.
All right, so at this point, John and Little Rock's in. Everyone but Stetka has gotten back to me, whether they're
on the
being in.
Right.
Yes. Right. Number one, Georgia.
Why is this so hard for everybody? Like, what is going on in everyone's life that we can't just respond?
At where are they? Oh, they're at Tennessee. This is at 3:30 on CBS, and Georgia. They are 10-point favorites at Tennessee.
Yeah, with Brock Bowers back, Georgia. I mean, it's a big number, and Tennessee's actually a fairly good team, unlike Maryland, but still, Georgia. And I get it. They're not. The other thing about Georgia is they haven't been exactly the same as we've used to seeing Georgia, but they know what's at stake. They know what's in front of them, and they also have to start. The other thing too that I do think matters now is they have to be thinking about: is there a backdoor path if they were to lose to Alabama in the SEC championship game? And so they need to be sharp, and they need to be playing really well going into the SEC championship game. I get that it's complicated because we're assuming at this point there's going to be an undefeated Big Ten champion. They're definitely going to be in.
We'll see what Iowa does.
Yeah, right. You assume at this point that either Oregon or Washington is going to be in. Even if Oregon comes back and beats Washington, they'll probably get in the playoff over. But at least you want to create an argument, right? Like you want to make it awkward for who the selection committee to have to choose between if you were to lose a game and an Oregon one-loss championship team. So yeah, I think that Georgia cleans things up and they win comfortably.
I have bet against Georgia too many times. I'm done doing it. Georgia.
Yeah, I'm taking Georgia as well. The Tennessee. I mean, this is not a great Tennessee team. I mean, they're still top 25, but they're the sixth best team in the SEC. So yeah, I'm taking Georgia. We do have one backer of the Tennessee Volunteers, so a lone wolf of the week, and a chance to really try to make up some ground here. Jeremy Kahn is taking Tennessee.
Ooh, so go ahead, give us a.
Oh,
there you go.
Lone wolf Jeremy Kahn taking the Volunteers. Number 5, Washington at number 11, Oregon State in Corvallis, where a lot of people wanted to see.
Yeah, the game day chose not to go to. It's very weird.
And Oregon State are favorites hosting Washington, 2.5. 2.5 is the line.
Washington. I get it. They have not been brilliant necessarily, but which team do I trust? The team with Michael Penix and Dennis Johnson, or Washington?
Dylan Johnson.
Sorry, what did I say? Dennis Johnson. Yeah. I think I knew it. Dennis Johnson. That's the reason why I said that. Yeah, Washington.
Yeah, Washington's been just good enough in all these big games that they've played. But since they've just been good enough and all they have to do is win, it's only, what is it, 2.5?
2.5, plus 2.5 if you're taking Washington.
Plus 2.5. Yeah, I'll just take Washington. Maybe they lose, but maybe it's on my second field goal by 1.
Yeah, I agree with you, Glenn. I wanted to pick the Oregon State so I could say go Beavs because that's fun. But yeah, they have the better quarterback. They have the better skill position players, so I will take Washington as well. We do have 3 backers for Oregon State. It is Kyle Ottenheimer this time.
I'm guessing Jeremy Kahn's one of them.
Jeremy and Andrew Stetka taking Oregon State.
I have a great
So Jeremy's opposite of the 3 of us on all 3.
Yep, here we go. Again, which should be concerning, but given how picks have gone this year, it's just not all that concerning. I have my eternal Beaver story that I tell. I swear to God, when I was in high school, I dated a girl, lovely young lady, and her mom didn't like me. Go figure, right? Like, what do you think? One day, I go to pick her up, and she's like back in her room getting dressed or something, and I'm in the living room, and her mom deadpan. We're silent, right? Like, it's just dead because, again, her mom doesn't like me, so we're just silent. And out of nowhere, she looks at me and she says, "Have you seen her beaver?" And I'm just like, the F just happened? What in the world is going on? And I swear to God, she comes running out of her room, like from apparently on like some family road trip when they were kids. She had this like plastic beaver that was an ongoing like joke within the family. She's like, "No, he hasn't." Like, all right, I'm glad I didn't answer that question in any way. I'm glad I just left that alone.
Definitely sounds
it was very uncomfortable.
like it should have been coded.
Very uncomfortable. NFL game.
To the NFL, we will start on Sunday with the Pittsburgh Steelers going to the Cleveland Browns, and the Brownies are 1-point favorites. 1-point favorites.
I can't. They're starting Dorial Thompson-Robinson. I get it. The Steelers stink. I understand that, but they're also the right kind of stink, where they're not going to lose to Dorial Thompson-Robinson, where they're going to plot around, their offense is going to be meh for 3 quarters, and then in the 4th quarter, T.J. Watt's going to take over, and they're going to give Kenny Pickett enough protection, and he's getting enough favorable calls. It's the same game. Steelers.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, look, I actually like Dorian as a prospect, but he looked god-awful, hasn't played a snap since the Ravens game. Pittsburgh's defense is too tough for him to come and win a game, so I'll take the Steelers.
Yeah, I agree with all that as well. I mean, Steelers, the Browns' O-line will still be a little banged up, and T.J. Watt will just really be able to pin his ears back and I think get to DTR a lot. Plus, the Steelers, they're 11-1 in games that Kenny Pickett has started and finished, and I would think that they can keep him. Well, I don't know. I guess Myles Garrett's chasing him. We'll see. But either way, I'm taking the Steelers. It is once again a lopsided favor here. Everyone is it is 8-3 in favor of the Steelers. On the Browns is John and Little Rock, and then sensing a theme here, Andrew Stetka and Jeremy Kahn on the Browns as well.
Okay. This is I know I'm starting to wonder if Andrew is doing the thing that Jeremy does with how
he kind of fades the public more or less.
That's what I'm starting to wonder.
Las Vegas. They are leaving Vegas for the first time under Antonio Pearson. They're going to Miami to take on the Dolphins, who are 13.5.
Such a big number.
Point favorites.
So Miami's coming off a bye.
This is true.
Raiders, you got the West Coast team playing at 1 o'clock. I understand why the number is, and it's still Aiden O'Connell, who, like, I get it, made a really nice throw to Michael Mayer. I I want to buy into, like, Antonio Pierce has them playing really well. I want to buy into all of those things, but I don't think I'm going to go down betting on Aiden O'Connell. So as much as I hate the number, I'm going with Miami.
Yeah, I don't mind the number coming off a bye. They're going to be, looks like they're getting everybody back that was banged up. Waddle, who's played through some things, it looks like he's been full go this week. I love Miami here. I think it's one of the easier games to pick this week.
I agree as well. They have won every home game this season by 14 or more. They're also 3-0 as a double-digit favorite under Mike McDaniel, including last season when they were coming off a bye against Houston and covered that one pretty easily as well. So I will take the Miami Dolphins. And once again, it is 8-3 in favor of the Dolphins on the Raiders.
Is it Jeremy Conn and Andrew Stecca?
As well as Paul Valley on the Raiders.
Very, very interesting.
Into the 4 o'clock window at 4:25, the New York Jets are taking on the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo, and the Bills are 7-point favorites.
It doesn't feel like the Bills should be 7-point favorites over anyone. But they're still sticking with Zach Wilson in New York. And they fired Ken Dorsey. It feels like desperate times. It feels like Buffalo needs to make a statement. Again, I'm very worried about all of these numbers, but I'm not going down betting on Zach Wilson, Buffalo.
Yeah, I am. I figured this would be the one where I was different than a lot of people, but divisional games, it seems like win or lose, the Jets are just playing close games. Their defense is good enough; they can run the ball. The Bills are just a mess right now, and you have a team that's a little bit in disarray, doesn't know what they're doing. I'm going to take the Jets here because I like the 7 points.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. It's not, I can look at it as not betting on Zach Wilson, but betting on the Jets defense and the Bills offense not really doing much of anything over the last couple of weeks. I still don't think I've picked a Bills game right all season. So who knows? So who knows what's going to happen here? But I'm going to take the Jets getting points as well. Ken and I are in a slight minority. It is 6-5 in favor of the Bills. Joining Ken and I is John Proctor, as well as Dr. Nick Kelly and Ryan Schell.
That means I'm with Andrew Stecca and Jeremy Conn. I don't know how I feel about that at all.
Minnesota at Denver. This is the Sunday night football game. Minnesota, they are getting 2.5. They're going into Denver.
It's funny you say that because, like, 2 weeks ago, I was looking at this like, this is awful. And now you go into this week and you're like,
doing all the primetime games this week.
It could be a high-scoring game.
But it's a little bit of everything. Like, there's intrigue. Everybody loves the Josh Dobbs story.
Yeah.
There's the Broncos. The Broncos have recorded back-to-back wins over the Chiefs and Bills, and I don't know that there's a lot of teams in recent history that have back-to-back wins that are better than that. Like, all of a sudden, this is a game that you're like, okay, I'm listening. Go ahead.
It is Broncos minus 2.5 at home.
Man. Wow. And okay, where are we with Justin Jefferson at this point?
Fantasy, ESPN
not
Fantasy projects. Oh, really? He's not going to play. That's big for me because I'm playing somebody that has him.
You say that like we are you saying that we know that, or that's the assumption at this point?
So the assumption is from a couple of different sources that he is doubtful to play, that he's not quite ready yet. Now that can all change with a limited practice today.
He limited practice. He practiced limited yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
Limited, full changes everything, but the word coming out after practice yesterday was that he still had an uphill battle. Now, apparently we have a timer now on us.
All right, fine. I'm going Vikings anyway. I don't know. I'm getting points. You're still asking me to believe in the Broncos, and I'm still hard pressed to do that. Vikings.
Well, you said the thing that I was going to say, but you already said it. The Broncos have 2 wins in a row against that may be the most impressive 2-game stand of any team in the NFL so far this year. They're at home. They figured out that they need to get their best football player the ball often in Javonte Williams.
Except from that final
Minnesota
drive. God.
Huh?
Except from the final drive Monday night, I needed 2 more points from him. and he didn't play a snap on the final drive of the game.
I'm sorry he's getting over 17 a game over his last 3.
Well, he should have gotten like 21 instead of 19.
Maybe that's a manager problem of the rest of your team and not on Javonte.
Yeah, I guess I should have started Trey McBride over Calvin Ridley.
With the knowledge that I think I know that I may not know and could be wrong, that Justin Jefferson still won't play, I'm going to take Denver. I'll take the team at home less than a field goal short.
Yeah, this is a tough one too because I liked Denver coming into this season, and now I'm like pretty much completely against them. I mean, Russ has been having an okay year. I like rooting for Josh Dobbs, so I'm going to take the Vikings to keep the Josh Dobbs train rolling, and hopefully they get a little bit of help from. Okay. So I will take the Vikings. Right. Next up is the Eagles at the Chiefs on Monday Night Football.
All right, so yeah, we don't normally pick the Monday night game. Here's the deal: this is the game of the century of the year, so we're not going to not include it. It's also not a week where there's a lot of other good games, so it was kind of a no-brainer for us to include Chiefs Eagles. So, the reason why we don't normally pick Monday night games is that we like to do the recap on Monday. By having a side bet this week, this is actually kind of fun because we're now going to go into like Monday knowing whose reality is what for that game. So, just a fun thing about this. As far as the game itself is concerned, Kansas City's at home. They're coming off their bye. Eagles obviously coming off the bye too. Kansas City's at home. You find it hard to believe that Kansas City is going to lose back-to-back games. And if they win, they're probably going to cover the 2.5. But I actually think the Eagles are better, right? Like, I think they're a better team. And you're getting points. Eagles is the pick.
It's where I came down. I got 2 football teams I think are good. I'm going to take the one that is getting points. And I just think they're a more complete team on both sides of the ball. The Eagles are. Easily be wrong. Kansas City at home is never a good bet. It's never good to bet against. But I'm going to take the Eagles here.
You're taking the Eagles as well, Glenn?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go against both of you guys. So, since 2007, there have been 24 Monday Night Football games with 2 teams having a win percentage over 75% in game number 10 or later in the season. And the home favorite of two or more points hits at a 65% rate. I guess it's not a great rate there, but either way, it's the Chiefs at home, and I like that stat. Plus, Taylor Swift, I think, is gonna be there, so I will take the Kansas City fighting Travis Kelce's.
Apparently, the Swift family and Kelsey family will be meeting. They're having like a Thanksgiving on Monday night.
Oh, that's nice. How nice. Yeah. So, all right, I'll take Chiefs by alt line -9.5.
Surprised it's not a Thanksgiving Day special.
I'm taking the Chiefs. On the Chiefs with me is Kyle, John Proctor, and Ryan Schell, Andrew Stecca, and Jeremy Kahn.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. They're on my side.
It's the problem, Andrew.
Fortunately or unfortunately, we'll
somehow
see.
They're picking all the same way, and Andrew Stecca has been good this year, and Jeremy Kahn hasn't been good. So I don't know what to make of that.
Final game of the slate. It is tonight. Cincinnati at Baltimore, and the Ravens. They are 3.5-point favorites.
I have struggled with this one all week, but I ultimately fall to the Ravens are 7-0 at home on Thursday Night Football. Add into that it's a bad Bengals run defense, a Ravens team that got away from the run and has been criticized and will probably overcompensate against the run. I like that matchup. And I'm buying into Mike McDonald's voodoo against the Bengals. Maybe I'll regret it, but I'm going with the Ravens.
I think I've emailed Griff twice today on changes that I've made on this pick. I don't know. I don't know what to believe right now. But I know that Cincinnati is without some key people, as are the Ravens. But the Ravens handled the pass rush the first time, a long time ago. And I think they covered the game. I really do. I went back and forth. I hate the hook. the 3.5. But all the signs point me historical and everything point me towards the Ravens and a victory. So I'm going to hope they win by 4, and I'll stick with the Ravens.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are kind of talking me into the Ravens, but I can't do it. I think this is going to be an ugly.
You're getting points with a good, desperate team.
Yeah. Because I think it's going to be an ugly game. I think it's prime time. I think it's going to be low scoring, and it's going to be the winner is going to win by a field goal. Hopefully that's the Ravens, and even if the Ravens do win by a field goal, that would mean the Bengals cover. Plus, the Bengals in their last 20 as a dog are 15-5 against the spread. Joe Burrow is 15-2 as an underdog of more than 3 points against the spread. So I'm going to take the Bengals in this one. Hopefully the Ravens still win, but I think it's going to be a really, really close game, so I'm taking the Bengals.
Okay.
Taking the Bengals me.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay.
No, go ahead.
Bengals is myself, Paul Valley, and Dr. Nick Kelly. And that is it. We are the 3 on the Bengals.
Oh, man, that means I've got Jeremy and Andrew.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did
both
they
on the
pick every game the same way this year?
Georgia and Tennessee, they swapped because Jeremy
Don't
Howell.
know what's going on over there. Don't know what's happening with that. Yes, Ken, what were you going to say?
So I have one question for the two of you. Over under 5 touches for Keaton Mitchell in the first quarter tonight.
Oh, I would probably take they're going to overcome. Wait, you say the first quarter?
First quarter.
Yeah,
over under 5
I'd still probably
touches.
take the over. They're going to overcomp. They're going to do that. They're going to overcompensate. They're going to do it.
I know they are.
5's a lot.
That's why it's so much fun, because what you said was right. Like, Cincinnati cannot stop the run this year. And they're going to overcompensate, and they're totally going to overcompensate Mitchell.
It's 100% the way things are going to go. All right, buddy. Are you going to join us tonight?
As long as I'm not asleep, yes.
All right. That'll be
as long as they don't put me to sleep with the boredom.
Yes. I hope that's not the case. At Fans Fantasy on Twitter is how you follow them. Fantasy Pros as well, and rankings every week at PressBoxOnline.com. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll talk to you. We'll have to figure out the plan for next week, but we'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right, when Ken's a loser, he's got to come in to eat
this
this
burger. That's right. We got to do that.
All right, it depends what day. Wednesday, I'm not available.
All right, we'll talk. We'll figure it out. Love you, dude.
Okay,
Ken Zalis
take care, guys.
With us here on GCR. Appreciate that. TJ Houshmandzadeh is going to join us, I hear. He still believes the Bengals are the best team in the AFC North. I think he said that, however, before they lost the Texans game. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's changed anything.
Well, then he saw the Ravens lose as well. So
it's true. So I would imagine he's probably stuck with it. Maybe he felt like the Browns had become the best team, and then they lost Deshaun Watson, so that can't be the case. All right, we'll catch up.
Maybe now he's completely flipped. He thinks the Steelers are the best team.
It's like he defaults to they're the only one that didn't lose. All right, we'll talk to TJ Houshmandzadeh coming up next. He's with Fox Sports, former Bengals and Ravens wide receiver. So an interesting person to get his perspective on tonight's game. We'll talk to him next. Glenn Clark Radio.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Todd Karpovich profiles the Orioles' survivors, Anthony Santander, Austin Hayes, Cedric Mullins, and Ryan Mountcastle, who all came from the previous regime but stuck through tough times to be key pieces in guiding the franchise back to prominence. Also inside, we remember the iconic Brooks Robinson with tributes from Jim Henneman and myself, Stan the Fan Charles, and a trip down memory lane to remember the most significant moments of his career. Plus, we meet players from college basketball programs around the state. Pressbox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Visit Harford County. Gear up for the holidays by supporting local with Small Business Saturday on November 25th. Take in the dazzling sights of the season with a Ladue Christmas at Ladue Topiary Gardens. Enjoy holiday lights, sing along to holiday songs, reserve a carriage ride, and sit on Santa's lap in Bel Air's Winter Wonderland, happening every Saturday from November 25th until December 16th. Nothing sparks that holiday joy quite like a festive parade. Head to visitharford.com and click on Events to see the full list of parades and so much more. In Maryland, you're welcome.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
There's so much focus on sports betting these days, but I want to talk about an area that nobody wants to gamble on, where you choose to go out and spend your hard-earned dollars to eat. The Costas Inn is no gamble at all. The quality on their menu is outstanding, and the value is off the charts with a great and varied list of specials Monday through Friday. And the staples of the menu, whether it's salads, burgers, fish, they're all fantastic. And I haven't even mentioned the crabs or crab cakes yet. So check out the menu for yourself at CostasInn.com. When choosing a place to dine, never gamble on the food you put in your belly. The Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or call 410-477-1975 for reservations and your steamed crab orders.
6 chicken tenders made from fresh, never frozen Royal Farms world-famous chicken, a family-sized order of Western fries, honey mustard dipping sauce, and a 2-liter bottle of Dr. Pepper. It's Royal Farms' new Tucker's Tenders Meal. It's Justin Tucker's favorite, and at only $19.99, it'll be your favorite meal too. The new Tucker's Tenders Meal, available only at Royal Farms. Now you can kick back, relax, and eat like a champion. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
Come for a game, stay for everything else. Book an unforgettable fall getaway in Charm City. Enjoy only in Baltimore festivals, mouthwatering eats, and endless entertainment. Treat yourself to a staycation in the heart of downtown, or try one of the city's many charming neighborhood hotels. And don't miss out on packages for free parking, breakfast, and more. Plan your stay at baltimore.org/hotels.
Don't forget about Project Game Day after every Ravens game this season. It's kind of like this show, except Rita's also there, so I actually think it's pretty good. But hey, you're already here now, so why don't you go ahead and keep listening to GCR.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Thursday edition of the program, Ravens-Bengals game day. Don't forget, Tyus Bowser show next Tuesday. Next Tuesday night, the Tyus Bowser show will be at Mother's North Grill in Timonium. Tyus and a special guest will join us. Partnership of Pressbox, Grade 8's Memorabilia. It's all brought to you by Superbook Sports, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, and AJ Michaels. Tyus Bowser show next Tuesday night, Mother's North Grill in Timonium. Come hang out with us. Well, it's Ravens-Bengals tonight, and who better to talk about the Ravens and the Bengals than a former Raven and Bengal? Of course, you now see him on Fox Sports. Hear him on Fox Sports Radio. He is a good guy, TJ Houshmandzadeh, and he is back with us now here on GCR. TJ, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to catch up with you, man. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
Yeah, no problem. How y'all doing?
Everything is good here, man. So everybody here was hot and bothered last week because they saw you on TV saying that you thought the Bengals were the best team in the AFC North, and you acknowledged a little bit that, like, you know, the people associate you with the Bengals. But did you genuinely feel that way, or are you just playing up for your home fans?
Man, I don't know what to believe now after this past week. I don't know.
Yeah, you might have defaulted to the Browns, and they don't have a quarterback.
It may be the Cleveland Browns, but without Deshaun Watson. Is that the case? This division has always been tough. Honest, if I'm being honest, I don't know. But if I needed a drive and I needed a team to go win the game, I would for sure take the Bengals. And so you just don't know. You know, the Ravens have been banged up a little bit. Marlon Humphrey, he won't play tonight. Ronnie Stanley looks like he's not going to play tonight. The Bengals really need this win if they want to get into the playoffs. And so it's going to be a tough game because the Ravens just blew a big lead against Cleveland, so they're going to be motivated as well. So it's perfect football.
You know, you touch on a couple of things that are relevant to me about tonight, TJ. Like, one, I think we saw this from Cleveland last week. That was a desperate team. That was a team that came into that game feeling like if we don't win this, the division's over, right? Like, forget it. And they played like it. And to your point, as crazy as it is to say this about a Bengals team that I think everybody still believes is a viable Super Bowl contender, like, if they were to lose tonight, the division is essentially over, and we're not even at Thanksgiving yet. How much do you think that impacts them, that level of desperation coming into tonight?
It's huge. They can't afford to lose if they want to still win the division. They win this game tonight, in essence, they control their own destiny because they play the Steelers twice, and they play the Browns again. And so for the Bengals, they have no other choice but to win. And when you look at it, Ronnie Stanley isn't playing. Trey Hendrickson is coming back to play after missing Sunday's game against the Texans. And so I don't believe T. Higgins will play, which that's going to hurt the Bengals. But that desperation that they know will be there, I believe that will play a huge part in the game.
So, TJ, you mentioned that if you needed one team and one quarterback to go make a drive, it would be Joe Burrow and the Bengals, and I completely get that. Why is there not the same level of faith in Lamar Jackson, right, given everything? It's an interesting topic that I've been discussing this week because we haven't seen Lamar in as many fourth-quarter duels over the years, but that's typically because they've built up big leads and they've played from ahead. Why are we reluctant to give him the same amount of credit for how he plays in the first three quarters versus how other quarterbacks play in the fourth?
It's not more so that he can't do it. It's that Joe has done it on the biggest of stages in the playoffs.
That's fair.
I think that's probably what Joe has accomplished that Lamar hasn't. I mean, Lamar was a unanimous MVP.
Yep.
When you compare the two, it's no slight on Lamar because Lamar is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But when you talk about doing it on the biggest stage, your team needs you to take them down the field, and Joe has done that. Now, whether they won the game or not, whether the defense kept the lead or not, Joe has shown he can do it. And I don't know if Lamar can do it. With this offense, with Todd Monken now and the way they're playing, you would say, yeah, highest completion percentage he's ever had, throwing the ball much better. You would say, yeah, he probably can do it. But me saying it and him doing it is two different things. Me believing he can do it and him going out and doing it is completely different. And so until he does it, we will all take the guy that we've seen and we know can do it.
You pointed out, obviously, the Ravens struggled last week and they blew a big lead. And there's this weird, kind of thing that's been going on the last two seasons. It's been pointed out. The Ravens have been 7 times with a healthy Lamar Jackson. They have lost games in which they had, according to ESPN, at least a 75% chance of winning in the fourth quarter. And they haven't all been, multi-score leads. Some of them have just been games where they played the Colts earlier this year, and nobody thought that they should be losing to Gardner Minshew. And when you've got the ball in any lead in the fourth quarter, you feel like you should win that game. One of the things that's been asked is player leadership, right? Like, you were in Baltimore around a time where there were a lot of A personalities on that team. Are you concerned at all that the Ravens maybe don't have those guys? They got really good football players, but do they have the right A personalities in those moments to make sure that they don't continue to have these types of blown leads?
I'm not in that locker room, so I couldn't answer that for sure, but I've met Marlon Humphrey. 100% he's a leader on that team.
Yeah.
And so there's no question about it. I met him, spent some time with him. He's a leader on that team. Offensively, I don't know. You would assume Lamar would have that leadership. I don't know, but I would assume things happen. When you play the Colts and Gardner Minshew, we're going to win this game. And so you tend to relax. And then you realize you're in a dogfight, and you try to turn it on. And then you go to man, that Cleveland Browns defense is tough. That's not a hard defense. That's not an easy defense to play against. And so they present so many problems with the way they attack the quarterback, the way they get off the ball, and they're so aggressive. And so it happens. But I'm not in the locker room, but I do know from being around Marlon Humphreys that he's a leader on that team. And Harbaugh is one of the best head coaches in the National Football League, and this is why, since he's been the coach of the Ravens, they're always good. And so if they are devoid of player leadership, which I don't believe is the case, Harbaugh's not going for that, man. Harbaugh is a fantastic head coach.
So let me go back to the Bengals for a second. TJ Houshmandzadeh is with us to the point, I think everybody was feeling the same way going into last week, where everybody was like, man, the Bengals are the Bengals again, and everything is fine, and they are just the same threat that they always were to win the Super Bowl. And then they lose at home to the Texans. And look, part of it is C.J. Stroud obviously looks like a buzzsaw right now. Like, that dude, when people start having the conversation about could he be MVP, I don't think it's going to happen, but, it's non-zero to me, man. He's been that good. But was there anything else about that game that alarmed you? Was it just that they ran into this sort of phenomenon, this buzzsaw that is C.J. Stroud? Or was there anything else about that alarmed you about the Bengals?
I mean, it's kind of the same things when the Bengals lose. It's Joe is under pressure a little bit more than you would like. Not really being able to get the big stop. The defense has played extremely well. But when you're missing your two best edge rushers, it's going to be tough. Tyler Boyd dropped a touchdown. We all going to drop balls. It happens. It just sucks that it happened at that time. But in essence, Joe took the offense down the field, and it was up to the defense to hold them. They couldn't. Those type of things happen. But it was a surprise, to say the least, because of the way the Bengals had been playing of late. To lose to a rookie quarterback, to get down, come back, tie the game, and then give up that drive. But the Texans and DeMeco Ryans, that defensive front, they put pressure on you, and they early in the game, and often they had Joe and that Bengals offensive line on their heels.
We're hoping that the same thing could happen. We're hoping that can be replicated tonight. We know it's not easy. I'm guessing that if you're, when you're back on speak, the answer is now the best team in the AFC North is whoever wins tonight's game, correct?
I would have whoever wins tonight. You would think has a leg up, and again, I'm not even bringing in Pittsburgh because they continue to find a way.
Okay, wait a second.
Win.
How do we talk about that, though? Like, how do we have the conversation about the team that, to your point, has the record that they have, and we can't be dismissive of them, but we want to be dismissive of them because we know they're offensively not that good? Like, how do we talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers in this conversation?
Because the NFL is a game of complementary football. If you have one side of the ball that can't hold their own weight, eventually it's going to show. And so offensively, the Steelers, they have a hard time scoring the football. They have a hard time moving the football, let alone scoring points. And so that eventually, when you play the Ravens, who have the defense they have, and the Browns and these other teams, where are the points going to come from? And so you go back to when they played the Browns early in the season. They scored more points on defense than they did on offense. That doesn't happen often in the National Football League. And so this is why this division is so tough. And, yes, whoever wins tonight, I believe will and should win the division. But this roller coaster of a season, you never know.
Man, it is a weird year, too. I want to bring up a theory, TJ, before I let you go, if I could, because it's something we're going to talk about a little bit more later in the show. I have campaigned the last couple of years that I think it's insane that we've just made the NFL MVP award nothing other than who's the quarterback of the best team, because I feel like we miss the year that Josh Allen stunk and Stephon Diggs showed up and suddenly the Bills had the best offense in football, and we weren't allowed to talk about, hey, maybe that means that Stephon Diggs is the most valuable player in football. We weren't allowed to have a conversation, and everybody stink-eyed me when I kept asking the question. This year, none of the quarterbacks have separate. We all know how good they are, but none of them are having the cartoonish seasons that we've seen some quarterbacks have of late. We certainly see the impact that, say, an A.J. Brown has in Philadelphia or a Tyreek Hill has in Miami, or, boy, the 49ers look awfully different when Christian McCaffrey's on the field and when he isn't. Is this the year that we should talk about a non-quarterback finally factoring into the MVP conversation?
Oh, you can talk about it, but it isn't going to change anything.
Yeah.
In essence, the MVP has become exactly what you said. The quarterback on the perceived best team. That's just what it is now. And Offensive Player of the Year will go to all the guys that you just named that isn't a quarterback.
It's just so lazy.
And so I've said this so many times on my podcast that the quarterbacks get elevated. And when they're not playing well or they're not doing well, they don't have enough help. They need help. And when you get them the help and they play well, oh, they're the MVP now, not the other guys that were brought in to help them. That's just the way it is now because the quarterback position has been elevated so much, and it's important. But if that left tackle doesn't block, how important is the quarterback? the receiver doesn't catch the ball, how important is the quarterback? Football is a game where you need all 11 doing their job. And so I don't think that will change. In essence, it's the best quarterback, and offensive player of the year is the best skill position player. That's what it's come to.
Man, it's just so lazy to me. Like, why can't we actually talk like humans instead of just falling into group think? TJ, I'm going to be screaming at a cloud for years. I'm that old man.
And I agree with you because I've said this myself, so we're on the same page with that.
I appreciate that, brother. All right, you mentioned the podcast. Obviously, we see you on TV. What all can we get plugs in for, TJ?
Oh, no. I just, whatever you guys like to watch, listen to, so be it, man. I just like to talk football. It's fun for me.
Hey, man, it's the first person I've ever asked that's been like, if you don't want to watch it, don't watch.
Yeah, for sure.
It's what I deal with when people tell me they don't like a topic that I'm discussing on my radio show. I'm like, you know what I never did? I never called the Oprah show and said, pick a different topic. I just changed the channel. I just watched something else.
There you go.
If you don't like what we're doing here, all good. Check in tomorrow. We'll be doing something else. That's the way that it goes. At TJ Hush84 is how you follow him on Twitter or on Instagram, and just at Hush84 on Twitter. TJ, man, I really enjoy this every time you take time for us. Thanks so much. I know you're a busy man. Really appreciate you doing this, dude.
Nah, you guys take care. Appreciate it.
TJ Houshmandzadeh, former Ravens and Bengals wide receiver. Some interesting thoughts. The desperation part definitely sits with me going into tonight. Like, that part of this is a factor. And, like, Griffin picking the Bengals and saying, I'm getting points with a desperate team that has Joe Burrow as their quarterback. Like, I get it. I completely get it. I'm worried about that. For the record, I would not bet American dollars on tonight's football game.
I'll take the under. I will, I think.
Yeah, you're going to continue your primetime unders. Yeah. And again, if you're going to continue to take the unders, then you like the idea that it's going to be a closer scoring game, right? Like, if what is the number for tonight? Remind me.
I believe it was 46, which still seems high. Or actually, it might have been 47 yesterday. I will see what the old Superbook says.
47 is like a 27-20 game.
I don't see that. I don't see it being even that high.
I mean, it was 27-24 in the first game, right?
I'm thinking of last year's Sunday night game when it was 19-16. You know, like, I see that being the way this goes. Or 23-20 even.
I still think this is a better Ravens offense than that, but to the point, I think they're going to want to run the ball tonight, and like that could be the...
It is 46.5 now.
46.5. That could be the turd in the punch bowl for the over-bettors, as if the Ravens really are completely committed to running the ball tonight, knowing how bad the Bengals run defense is. I just don't understand. Like, they lost. Like, I understand why they took a step back at safety. We were talking about that with Rocky Boyman yesterday. Like, I understand why they took a step back there. I don't understand why they've been so bad against the run this year. I don't get that at all. If you want to join Griffin in continuing to go with the primetime unders philosophy, go do that right now at Superbook.com. Download the Superbook app. When you do, use the code GlennClark23 when you sign up, and you will receive up to $250 in that same-day first bet match. So let's just say you throw $250 at the under tonight. You win. You're getting, because I'm assuming it's about a minus 110, correct, right? I'm guessing.
Correct.
So you're getting almost $250, and you're getting $250 in a same-day first bet match. You're getting free $250 worth of free bets. If you lose, it'll be a bummer because you lost out on that $250, but you'll still get $250 worth of free bets to bet the rest of the primetime unders moving forward. You going to do it on Monday night, by the way? Chiefs-Eagles, two teams coming off a bye?
That one I may...
You're going to bet the under in that one?
You're
going to choose to pass on betting the under in that one?
Probably some Travis Kelce prop bets since we know Taylor will be there. And then hopefully I can just sit back and enjoy, you know?
I'm starting to think they should do an alternate broadcast on Monday night, like if you don't want any Taylor Swift content.
I'll avoid that one.
There's the major, like they do the Manning cast, but instead for Monday night, it's just... Here's the broadcast that's not about Taylor Swift. Again, I don't hate Taylor Swift. I just don't care. That's it.
Sounds like you better be careful.
I don't care.
They're going to come after you.
Oh, they can come after me all they want. We can talk. There's stuff that's worth coming after me for. That folk album was dreadful. It was awful. And this country's so stupid they gave her album of the year. It's not even that it wasn't. It was bad. It was a bad album. And they gave her album of the year at the Grammys because, again, this is just groupthink. We are no longer capable of having conversations. We just fall into Taylor Swift good. No, that wasn't. It was bad music. We just can't. We're not capable of doing it. It's like we're not capable of doing a lot of things. It's just again, old man yelling at cloud. All right, we continue along here on a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio as we get ready for Ravens-Bengals tonight. Man, I saw that our next guest was going to be hanging out at the Jimmy Seafood tailgate party tonight, the TailGOAT, and I said, wait a second. That's my buddy. That's my friend. And, of course, it's been awesome all season long to see him as part of Amazon's coverage of Thursday Night Football as he will kick it off once again tonight. Of course, with his legendary tune, Ain't Nothing Wrong With That. I love this man. In fact, I don't even know if he knows this, but once upon a time, I danced on stage with him in DeKalb, Illinois, at a little festival he was playing at called I don't even remember what the festival was called. But this man is the great Robert Randolph, and he is back with us here on GCR. Robert, it's Glenn. It's always good to catch up, brother. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes for us.
What's up, brother?
Hey,
how you doing, man?
Everything is good, man. This is awesome. First of all, how did this whole thing come about? I know you've done sports themes, and everybody knows that you're basically a New York sports insider, right? Like your Twitter account is way more about the Knicks and the Giants than it is about music in any way. But this is a big deal, right? Like getting the opportunity every week. How did this come about that you got hooked up doing the theme for Amazon?
Well, the thing for Amazon and Thursday Night Football, they were sort of looking to see how they could be a little different from Sunday night and Monday Night Football. And they were kind of searching for, somebody that wasn't really country, that wasn't really hip hop. And I said, hey, it's little old me over here, it's Robert Randolph, So they were like, yeah, that's right, man. You got that great song that sort of brings everybody together called Ain't Nothing Wrong With That. And I mean, because they were getting actually pitched like some of the biggest artists in the world, all of the big people. And they chose little old me because my song Ain't Nothing Wrong With That speaks to love and happiness and everybody and all walks of life and getting together in the world and having a great time. So here I am on the big TV spot, and we got it,
Dude, so this blows my mind too. That song is nearly 2 decades old at this point. And it still has, like, I remember hearing that song for the first time, like, whoa, this is a game changer. Because I had seen you live and your live stuff, but, like, I was like, this dude is about to be a superstar of superstars. And over the years, this is a straight shoot, man. There have been football players that have seen that, like, you were coming on my show, and they've been like, yo, tell that dude that, like, my daughter danced to that song at her dance recital. Like, the way this song has stood and has been so significant for so long. I know you've done so many things, but how significant has it been for you knowing the impact that it has had on so many people?
Man, it's really great. It's kind of funny because we, one of the producers that I worked with in Nashville at the time, he was telling us how he came to him and his buddies came to a show in Nashville, and they had never seen that diverse of a crowd. He was like, man, everybody was there. Because what happened, days before that, we had already started writing the song. And I think it was actually about a girl or something at the time. And then he came to the show, and he was like, no, man, this song needs to be more, needs to have more impact because, man, we just saw an audience like with hippies and old people and old black people, old white people, country people, young people, college kids. And so we rewrote the song literally like the next day at the studio. And here we are all of these years later, it's been used in movies, commercials, and The crowd loves it, and it's really been a sort of a blessing for me to be able to have that be appreciated by so many people worldwide. So I'm happy.
Has the Amazon thing like brought a new, have you looked out and seen like an entire new group of fans or a new group of people that yeah.
Oh yeah, man. It's been really like, people calling every day and trying to figure out like, hey, can we get you to come do this? Can we get you to do that? And I'm kind of like, I'm actually finishing up a new record right now in LA. I got to fly to LA. Oh, that's going to be great, man. We literally almost done. I'm actually flying to LA on Monday to kind of do the finishing touches of that. So that'll be out early spring. And it's going to be great, man. I'm working on it with Shooter Jennings, who's Waylon awesome. Jennings' son, who's a great, everybody thinks he's a country guy, but he's a rock and roll cat,
Dude, that's so cool. Robert Randolph is with us. He's going to be at the TailGOAT tonight. So, okay, this part of it, you and I have talked a ton over the years. Everybody knows you're a Giants fan, but you've got you've got tons of family, the Davis family, right, around here.
The Davis and the Randolph family. We're here in Baltimore.
They are big Ravens fans.
They're big Ravens fans. They talk a lot of smack. It's just so funny because one of my great aunts actually told me, she was like, Mama and Daddy, she's like, had us move here in 1948. So they've been in Baltimore since 1948. They moved from Virginia to Baltimore. So my family's been here since 1948.
Wow, man! And I know
my father was born here. All of his brothers and sisters were born here. And as a little kid, I was subject. I had to go. They would leave us inside the wire. That's where they all live, in the wire.
See, you know what I appreciate about this most, and becoming friends with you, I keep telling this every time. I was an obsessed Robert Randolph fan, so it's so wild that we've developed a friendship over the years. But what's best about it is because there are so many artists that are just like, yeah, we're coming to town, we'll be in D.C. And I'm like, oh, great. You, every time, go out of your way to actually play in Baltimore at Artscape, or it was at Wrecker last time, or at Ram's Head. Like, I am so grateful for the fact that you've got family here, that you've gone out of your way to make sure you didn't just say, like, oh, we came to the Mid-Atlantic. No, you actually come to Baltimore and play here. And that has made all the difference for me in wanting to go out and see 100 Robert Randolph shows in my life.
Bro, let me tell you something. I travel all around the country, and I was just telling the driver last night that Baltimore and Philly are like literally like the last two like East Coast blue-collar cities where it's just like everybody it's kind of like just mixed in, and it's like hard-nosed. And I was just telling the guy last night, I said, man, Baltimore is like, there's no city like Baltimore. It's just, you got people, everybody's going to the same restaurants, bars, hanging out, all this history here. So, you got to play Baltimore, man. Bro. It's like, it's its own animal,
It is. Baltimore is decidedly real, is the way that I put it. Like, there is no pretentiousness in our city. Like, you are getting, you're getting what you're getting, dude. Like,
that's it. Right? As a guy just told me, like, man, you got to come here, you come here and get you some ham hocks, man. You get...
All right, so you're doing the TailGOAT tonight. We love Jimmy's. They're our friends. And
man.
I don't know how that came about. I don't know what the plans are for tonight. I am angry that I have to work and that I am not able to just go hang out. But you're going to play some you're going to play some tunes?
Yeah, I'm going to play with the DJ guys, Cash. And it's just going to be a party, man. We're just going to have a time. I just figured I'll come, and, I've been doing it a few times, doing this Thursday night football run, kind of getting with a bunch of the local parties, going to hang out in the stadium, tailgates, hanging with players and talking and jamming and doing meet and greets. So, who set this up was our buddy Mark Roberge from OAR.
Oh, that's my guy. I love that guy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He said, yo, man, Jimmy Seafood, man. We were actually on our way from their Ocean's Caller Festival.
Yeah.
We went home together back to New York, and And we talked about it. He's like, you got to go hang out with my buddy Jimmy Seafood. And they got a crazy TailGOAT party. I said, let's do it.
Bro.
So here we are today, and I've been playing it with Jimmy's, and, go Ravens tonight.
Bro, that is so cool. Oh, man. What a wild time that was in Ocean City, man. Like, what a cool all the credit in the world to those guys for having the vision for something. And, man, that was special, bro.
No, man, they pulled it through. It was a great festival. And, because me and Mark Robert just close, and we, those guys had that vision for a long time. Don't forget, like, last year it was supposed to be the opening year with Dave Matthews.
Yeah.
And it got rained out with the storm and all of that happened there. So I was so happy that they stuck with it and had the faith. And it was a great year this year, man. We had a great time, man. I mean, the whole festival from doors to the, from 1 o'clock all the way up until the last band, everybody had great sets. It was big crowds for every single artist. And I'm happy for those guys.
I'm going to need that to happen with Dave Matthews and you again, because there is a video. I have a YouTube playlist that I use at the gym, and there is a Red Rocks video of you guys doing Louisiana Bayou together that I swear to God, I watch like at least once a week, man. Like, it gives me that much joy. It is one of my favorite things that you guys ever did, was working together on that, man. That is special. All right,
man, thank you so much, brother.
So convince me why.
We had a great time, man.
Oh, bro. Convince me why it's going to be different for the Knicks this year. Convince me of that.
Convince you what?
Convince me why it's going to be different for the Knicks this year.
Well, you know what, man? You know what? The Knicks are just getting better. King Julius Randle, who gets a lot of hate from a lot of people around the league. He's going to continue. He's going to move his way up to second team All-NBA. The Knicks will get to the conference finals, not the finals this year. The next year we'll be in the finals. So Knicks are going to rule the Eastern Conference, after this coming season, man. We're going to get us a superstar.
I've heard that from you a time or two. Yeah. I keep hearing that every year.
Yeah, man.
This is the year that you're going to land somebody, and I keep waiting.
Well, hey, no, that's all right. Listen, we were patient. We've grown as a team. The Knicks are going to be powerhouses next year. We got 8 first-round draft picks. So we're going to get us a superstar. It's about their time. We've all been patient. The world has been watching. The Knicks fans suck for a long time, and we're back.
All right, Robert Randolph tonight, the TailGOAT with our friends at Jimmy's. I don't even know if there are tickets available, honestly, because they tend to sell those things out pretty quickly. They are wild parties. Dude.
No, I think it's all sold out. Yeah, I think. But hey, everybody, come flood the area, man. Let's go.
Yeah, you'll be able to hear it as you're getting down. Just wander over towards. They do it at Hammerjacks, so just wander over in that direction. You can hear some beautiful tunes.
Yeah, man, we're gonna be. Hey, listen, I was hoping the Ravens would get Saquon Barkley in a trade from the Giants.
Makes 2 of us.
But the Giants wanted to keep Saquon, and you see how we're the worst team in the league.
Yeah,
so.
Right. Great call. Yeah. Great call. Partnering up with a kid that's living at home playing quarterback. Partnering up with that. Great call.
Oh, gosh, man.
Dude.
It's been horrible, man. It's been horrible.
That's brutal. Robert, love you, brother. Can't wait to hear the new album. We'll be in touch.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for taking a couple minutes this morning, man.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot, man.
That's Robert Randolph, a genius. I mean, like, literally a genius. And you, of course, when you hear the theme song for Thursday Night Football, you're like, oh, right, him. He's your favorite musician's favorite musician. He's brilliant. I don't even have the words to describe the greatness of Robert Randolph, but that's really cool that he's going and hooking that up tonight here in Baltimore. All right. Today's show also brought to you by the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. Later on today, Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. You'll see Stan the Fan connecting with John Eisenberg, of course, the author of Rocket Men, which is a great book about the history of black quarterbacks in the NFL. Every Monday, Stan, Ross, and Luke Jackson, of course, Ross Grimsley, get together to talk baseball. Again, Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline, PressBoxOnline.com/video. Still to come today, that theory that I have, we were talking about it with TJ Houshmandzadeh. I'm going to run it by Mike Sando. I know he agrees. It's time to talk about non-quarterbacks as MVP. We'll discuss that next. Glenn Clark Radio.
Come for a game, stay for everything else. Book an unforgettable fall getaway in Charm City. Enjoy only in Baltimore festivals, mouthwatering eats, and endless entertainment. Treat yourself to a staycation in the heart of downtown, or try one of the city's many charming neighborhood hotels. And don't miss out on packages for free parking, breakfast, and more. Plan your stay at baltimore.org/hotels.
Why bet with the big boys this football season? Instead, try your hand with the local book, Superbook Sports, this fall. Superbook Sports is the book next door. Just a dedicated team of the best odds makers in Las Vegas, making sure you get the best prices and parlays anywhere. And now, Superbook will give you a bonus of up to $250 when you sign up and wager on the same day and use the promo code GlennClark23, GLENNCLARK23. So bet with the best and use the promo code GlennClark23 this football season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
6 chicken tenders made from fresh, never frozen Royal Farms world-famous chicken, a family-sized order of Western fries, honey mustard dipping sauce, and a 2-liter bottle of Dr. Pepper. It's Royal Farms' new Tucker's Tenders Meal. It's Justin Tucker's favorite, and at only $19.99, it'll be your favorite meal, too. The new Tucker's Tenders Meal, available only at Royal Farms. Now you can kick back, relax, and eat like a champion. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
What's up, everyone? It's Tyus Bowser, and I've had so much fun hanging out with Rita and putting up with Glenn the last couple years that I've decided to do it again. Season 3 of the Tyus Bowser Show is happening this year, as we'll be all over town, giving you the chance to get to know me and some of my teammates. As we talk football, life in general, and just say what needs to be said. You can find out more about the show by going to PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser. If you don't live in the area, you can watch the shows live on Facebook and YouTube. And if you miss one, you can listen Friday nights at 105.7 The Fan. So we'll see you all season long for the Tyus Bowser Show, a partnership of PressBox and Great Ace Memorabilia.
The next Tyus Bowser Show is Tuesday, November 21st at Mother's North Grill in Timonium. It's brought to you by Superbook Sports, AJ Michaels, and HelpMyGamblingProblem.org.
What company has the expertise to make your home healthier by purifying your air and killing all viruses, allergens, and bacteria? AJ Michaels, Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis, ajmichaels.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Make sure you're tuned in every Tuesday for PressBox fantasy football analyst Joe Serpico to get you ready for your Waiver Wire Wednesday, brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel. And if you have other fantasies you want fulfilled, subscribe to Glenn and Jeremy Kahn's OnlyFans page at... Wait, are people supposed to know about that?
This is the greatest story of all time. Like I'm not a politics guy. Everybody knows that. But it just came across the House of Representatives has filed their ethics report about George Santos, and this dude, on top of everything else, apparently used campaign funds to pay for OnlyFans, Botox, and at Sephora. On October 21st, 2022, Redstone's bank account received a $25,000 wire from an account affiliated with Contributor 2. From there, $25,000 was transferred from Redstone's account to Representative Santos's personal checking account. On October 26, 2022, Redstone's bank account received a $25,000 wire from an account affiliated with Contributor 1. On the same date, the $25,000 was transferred from Redstone to a different personal checking account owned by Representative Santos. After the $50,000 from Redstone was deposited into Representative Santos' personal accounts, the funds were used to, among other things, pay down personal credit card bills and other debt, make a $4,127 purchase at Hermes. I don't know what Hermes is.
Oh, that's another designer brand.
Okay. And for smaller purchases at OnlyFans, Sephora, and for meals and for parking. The ISC did not find evidence showing that the contributions received from contributors 1 and 2 were used to support Representative Santos's candidacy.
Well, I don't know.
You almost have to give the guy credit at some point.
Maybe this does support his candidacy.
Yeah, right. The old discretionary funds. Right. You almost have to hand it to him at some point. It's crazy that I'm saying that because I should be the guy that says no,
unbelievable.
But Jesus Christ, man, the guy is a complete fraud. Knows he's a complete fraud, and it's just
yeah,
and I'm gonna keep doing it anyway.
How much of it went to OnlyFans? It just said the rest of.
Yeah, it
there was
said
no
smaller purchases.
Oh, okay.
Smaller purchases at OnlyFans, Sephora, and for meals and for parking. So he wasn't using too much on OnlyFans for what it's worth. Just some of it was going to OnlyFans. This guy just doesn't care. He just doesn't. I mean, I get it, right? When you're baseball's all-time leading home run hitter. And, you won 17 Grammy Awards. I can understand why maybe you're a little detached from reality. The dude, it's just I'm going to keep doing it. You ain't going to do nothing about it. And then somebody's going to go talk to him today, and he's going to say something like, yeah, well, I made mistakes.
I guess I should have spent more. Yeah.
It's unbelievable, man. It really is one of the greatest stories of all time. I don't know how to describe it. Only in America, baby. Only in America can something like this happen. It is incredible.
Michigan football.
It's true.
Representative Santos.
True.
Yeah.
America's teams. That's who we've got here. You just got no choice but to root for them. That's the way that it goes. No choice but to root for those guys. All right, we continue along here in hour number 2 of GCR. You want to tell everybody what's going on at Live Casino and Hotel, Griffin?
Yeah, over at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. If luck wasn't on your side, I took Loyola basketball last night. Didn't work out. But fortunately, over at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, I can turn those losses into winning opportunities with the Second Chance to Win promotion. Between now and January 4th, 2024, all Live Casino and Hotel Maryland Rewards members will be able to enter their losing bet slips into the Second Chance to Win drum, and then 2 nights a week, 20 different winners will be chosen. Prizes ranging from Live Casino and Hotel Maryland apparel, sports and social ultimate happy hour, plus cash and free play worth up to $500. Drawings will be held every Thursday and Monday over at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
John Proctor asks a good question. Does paying an OnlyFans subscription count as supporting a local small business? Because that's a hell of an argument to make. I mean, you got to make sure. I don't know if it was local.
Right.
The
Yeah.
problem, right? Do you think it was really? What does he represent? Staten Island, something like that, right? Do you think it was really?
There's a chance.
It wouldn't be women. He's not interested in women, so it would have to. He's not. That's not. We know that. Well, of course. What do we know? Because is anything? That's a great point. Is he even gay? I don't even know if he's gay. How would I know? Nothing's real about this guy. But I don't know that he would have specifically chosen a Staten Island-based OnlyFans. I won a very small pot related to something in our fantasy football league a couple years ago. It was a side bet that we did, and I think it was a $50 pot or something.
Okay, most points scored in the league, yeah.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
And the commissioner was like, well, do you want me to give you, what do you want me to, how do you want me to give you the money? And I was like, I tell you what. Go find a nice local young lady we can support. And then share the password with everybody. Just say, if you would like to. And I think I looked one time and I was she's lovely. Good for her. I'm glad we supported a local small business.
What a hero you are.
I'm glad.
To the league and
to
the community.
I'm glad that's how we chose to spend that money. Is supporting a nice local entrepreneur, right? Someone who's trying to pick themselves up. That's the route that we went. All right, other people got in. A lot of people are angry about TJ Houshmandzadeh saying that Joe Burrow's done it on the biggest stage because the biggest stage is the Super Bowl. The context there that's missing. I understood what he said, which is that Joe Burrow has done it in the playoffs. And again, while we can say Lamar Jackson has won a playoff game, the reality is that Joe Burrow has been a better playoff quarterback. To say winning playoff games only matters if you're winning the Super Bowl. We're gonna work ourselves into a shoot here. There is a relevant argument to be made that maybe we give Joe Burrow too much credit as a playoff quarterback when he's never won a Super Bowl. There's an argument to be made for there. But we also know that we can delineate there is a difference between Joe Burrow's playoff success and Lamar Jackson's playoff success. That's relevant. I would also say, if you presented me the same question, you got to win one game, one drive, 2 minutes left, who would you rather have, the Ravens or the Bengals? Well, given who it is that Joe Burrow is throwing the ball to, as much as I like Rashad Bateman and I'd still rather have Jamar Chase and a healthy T. Higgins. Mark Andrews is obviously a better tight end, but I would probably still default in that scenario that TJ Houshmandzadeh painted, the who do you want for one drive to win one game, it's not as obvious to me as it might be to other people because, again, I significantly believe in Lamar Jackson. But look over there at what he's working with. Joe Burrow plus Jamar Chase plus T. Higgins plus Tyler Boyd, one drive, nameless, faceless opponent. Yeah, I'm probably going to pick the Bengals. If Lamar Jackson had Joe Burrow's cast, if it was Lamar Jackson with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd, I'd probably pick whatever team that was. But I probably agree with the way that TJ Houshmandzadeh presented the thought process. Does that make them the best team in the AFC North? No. But we're going to get a definitive answer about that tonight. That's the reality. That's at stake tonight. Whoever wins tonight defaults into the role of, and it doesn't matter because they don't give you a conference title until the end of the year, but whoever wins tonight defaults into team to beat in the AFC North. And I get it. The Steelers are still in the conversation, and they'll probably win again this week. But I can't do it. I just can't keep doing that. All right, we continue along on a Thursday edition of the program, Ravens-Bengals tonight. But I've been wanting to talk to this man about this thought process for a little while because, as you guys know, I started banging this drum the year that Stephon Diggs showed up in Buffalo and the Bills' offense stunk the year before, and suddenly they were the greatest show on turf. I said, why are we not allowed to talk about Stephon Diggs as being the most valuable player in the league? Why can't we have a conversation? This man is absolutely on board with the idea that the MVP of the league this year might not be a quarterback. He is the athletic NFL writer, Mr. Mike Sando, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Mike, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you as always. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Hey, yeah, I'm glad to be here. I love that discussion, too. I think it's a good one.
Man, I think I asked like 20 people that I had on that year, like, why is there no conversation about Stephon Diggs? And I couldn't get a real, it was just, it's groupthink, right? It's just, this is the way it works now. The MVP is the quarterback from the best team. That's the way that it goes. And, well, but why? Why can't, when I present, you saw the Bills' offense a year ago. It was dreadful. You saw them this year. They were unbeatable. One thing changed. How do we not know immediately that that's the definition of the word valuable? And to me, the argument, we can talk about a lot of guys in that capacity.
I think, though, if there's a person from every position that is having a borderline historic type season or, a record-setting type season, I do think the quarterback has the edge because they're the most important guys, right?
Right.
I'm just not seeing that this year. I think there's been years where, hey, Peyton Manning's going to have 55 touchdowns, or, someone's just on fire. Or the other thing I look at is, hey, this team is winning because of this quarterback, and they're bad on defense and other stuff isn't great. This guy is really doing it, right? I think that is an MVP. But I don't feel like we're seeing that this year. The quarterbacks that we always think about, Patrick Mahomes has a top 5 defense. They're not hitting on all cylinders. I mean, I'm sure he's playing well. He's just not having an MVP season. Sorry, to me. How low does the bar have to go for these quarterbacks? Why, when we can just shift to another position and say, hey, Tyreek Hill's having an incredible season for an offense that he makes a huge difference in, or something like that, right?
The one that's really mind-blowing to me, Mike, is when I look at MVP odds and I see that somehow Brock Purdy is still ahead of Christian McCaffrey. Like, we've seen the 49ers with Brock Purdy and no Christian McCaffrey. Like, we know that ain't it. We know that Christian McCaffrey is a more valuable piece to that team than Brock Purdy is, with no disrespect to Brock Purdy, who is a competent, solid NFL quarterback that at times plays really well. But, how can anyone watch the 49ers and think that Brock Purdy is more valuable to that team than Christian McCaffrey is?
That's an interesting question, because the nature of the position, if they were to play the next month without Brock Purdy, do you think they would be fine if everyone else was healthy? Or is that unfair because the quarterback position is just by nature more important?
It's a fair question, but given all the talent there, didn't we do this a year ago, right? Like, didn't we learn this lesson?
We did it with Brock Purdy, yes, but we didn't do it with Trey Lance. So
fair.
I say this. I think Purdy has played better than just a caretaker role. I think he's been a really good quarterback.
Yeah, I
think he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though. I do know what you mean. At what point would that be in the discussion of what would Christian McCaffrey have to do to be the MVP over Purdy if he's not right now? So what more would we want from him, right? Isn't that kind of what it is?
He's
on a record streak of touchdowns. I know that just ended. I think he's been leading the league in rushing. Have to check today to see if he was, but he has been in the last couple of weeks. He's a dual threat player. He's probably the best player on the field when they're on offense. All due respect to Trent Williams, who's injured.
And they're a wildly different offense when he arrived. Then I feel like that's a conversation that should be had. I know you brought up A.J. Brown as well. I would feel quite strongly about that. And the other one is, Mike, what if the Steelers win the AFC North somehow? And we're hoping in Baltimore that's not the case. But if the Steelers somehow win the AFC North, it's going to be because T.J. Watt almost single-handedly drove them there, right? Like, how in the world do we not talk about that in that scenario?
Yeah. Well, I even thought Myles Garrett, if you look at right now, the statistically, the Browns defense would be the best since 2000 at least. And they're a team that's 6-3. And I know everyone's fretting because they lost to Deshaun Watson. Well, guess what? They're a bottom 5 offense with him there. He's not playing amazing. He completed all 14 passes against Baltimore in the second half, and 11 of them didn't go more than 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. That team is in the mix without Chubb, without any good quarterback play, with a bottom 5 offense. Myles Garrett, anyone?
Yeah.
Myles Garrett is at the line of scrimmage getting delay of games on the offense because, remember that play? He was going back and forth across the formation, and when he noticed the other team was matching him with 2 guys following, he kept doing it until they ran out of clock. He also double foot leaped over the offensive lineman without touching him to block a field goal.
Thanks.
And then on every other play on defense, he wrecks the game.
Yeah.
So what would he have to do to be the MVP over Brock Purdy?
Thanks for the reminder, Mike, by the way. I really appreciate that. Thanks for the reminder of how things went. But to your point, yes, he was a one-man wrecking crew. He was a monster. He said, I'm owning this football game now. It's my football game. And I hate it. Sounds like I'm going war on Brock Purdy, and I don't want it to be. I think Brock Purdy is
I know.
Like,
he's done well.
But to your point, how can we pretend like he's more valuable than that? It's driving me.
Just at what point would you ever consider a non-quarterback if you're not going to do it this year?
Yeah.
I mean, the offense is down across the league. The top quarterbacks have top defenses. Other than I would say, I think if Burrow were to do, and they lost this last game, but if Burrow were to have them in the playoffs, I think their defense has fallen off quite a bit, and he is amazing. But the full first month of the year, he wasn't good. He was hurt, so it's hard to give it to him now. But I think he could be in position over the second half to lift a team that isn't as good on defense. I don't know if everyone realizes that with Cincinnati yet, but I think they're going to over the course of the year.
Well, their run defense is terrible, and then again, hoping that continues. Mike, I am not. When we have this conversation, I am not dismissive of C.J. Stroud in the MVP conversation. Like we're all watching it. We're all seeing the same thing, and I get it that while they're not name brand, that his wide receivers are better than the casual football observer realizes they are. We are not talking about Tank Dell and Nico Collins. Of course, he did that on Sunday without Nico Collins. But I am not dismissive of it whatsoever. We're all seeing the same thing. This is almost ungodly what he's doing at the moment.
It is, and I think we just need to let it play out, because I think if they have a winning record this year, and contend for the playoffs, for sure the way he's playing is good enough to be in it. I think it's remarkable. I think it's very impressive to come into a team that's won 11 games over the last 3 years. Okay, that's fewest in the league, and now you're 5-4. I can't get over yet that they lost to Carolina. I don't know how that happened. I didn't really watch that game closely, but I think they're 5-4. And he has come in and been a complete pro, and he is carrying it. I mean, they are passing the ball. He's not only an excellent, kind of advanced pocket passer, but he's shown instinct and athleticism that I don't think people realized that he had. Spinning around, he did this pirouette last week and threw the ball across the field on a rope, and I'm just going, whoa. That was unusual. That's not caretaker rookie quarterback with a good defense and run game helping you win. That's a quarterback winning the game.
You're winning because of him, no question. It is really remarkable. Mike Sando is with us here in GCR. He, of course, does the Pick 6 and the Cover 7 at The Athletic, and is always a required reading for me. Mike, away from the MVP discussion, I do want to get your thoughts about where the Ravens are, because I think a lot of people are struggling with how to put it into context. This number that's been floating around all week, they've lost games 7 times in the last 2 years with a healthy Lamar Jackson, where they had at least a 75% chance of winning the game, according to ESPN, in the fourth quarter, and that's damning. And there's other numbers that are pointed out about, how Lamar's played in the first 3 quarters versus the fourth. At the same time, it doesn't mean you're bad. We know they're not bad, because the other way of saying that is literally every game that Lamar Jackson has played in, they've had at least a 75% chance of winning the game in the fourth quarter. And it certainly isn't more beneficial to lose the way that the Chiefs lost to the Broncos than it is to lose. It's a loss no matter what. I don't think it makes you a better team if you're getting blown out when you lose. But how do we talk about this thing? It is a thing in some capacity. They're good, but it's weird that this thing sort of continues to happen.
And also, this is a team that I think over the years has been lauded for their good management of the game, right? So I think it's got to be a combination of things. I don't believe in the idea that a quarterback is suddenly good or bad in a certain quarter of the game. Sometimes you'll see, I had an item in my Pick 6 last week. Oh, Kenny Pickett has 6 game-winning drives in his first 21 starts. Okay, so did Tim Tebow. So what's our point, right? That's not a sustainable formula for suddenly being good in the fourth quarter after being bad the whole game. I'd rather have a few hiccups in the fourth quarter and play good the rest of the time, okay? I think that's pretty much what Lamar Jackson's done. I don't believe he suddenly starts choking in the fourth quarter of the game. There's too much of a body of work there. So some of that probably just has to even out. I think there have been probably a couple of games where, the management of the game, and I don't have specifics on my mind, but I know just from talking to people in the league, there's been a little, maybe a slip up here or two in a couple games that we wouldn't have normally seen from them. In this last game, here's the moment that really caught me, and it wasn't in the fourth quarter. I know there was the Pick 6 interception, but they've got Zay Flowers wide open for touchdown in the second quarter.
Yep.
And we're talking about, this new pass offense and Lamar taking a step, and all of that's good, except that's a pass that you hit in warm-ups 100 out of 100 times. That's a pass that he should make in his sleep, right? The guy's wide open. You're not being rushed. It's a pat the ball and toss it. You see him. That is a warm-ups pass that we see. If they complete it, it's Detroit game, Seattle game all over again. That would have knocked them out. Don't you agree?
I agree. I completely agree.
So it's easy to focus on the thing late in the game, but there were a couple things like that where hit that play. That was a layup.
I try to say this the right way. Is there a different burden that faces Lamar and the Ravens because of their past playoff failures and him not being around to try to rewrite that the last 2 seasons? That there has to be. There has to be almost some skepticism. Okay, glad that he's played well, all that, but he still has to prove it in a way that's different than a lot of other quarterbacks have to prove it. Oh,
you mean because of that history? Because he's been so good, but they have come up short.
Yeah.
I think that I have not been feeling that narrative around the team this year because I think everyone's generally been happy with the change on offense and felt like it's leading to somewhere positive, right? Even with some bumps in the road, a hiccup, some missed throw against Cleveland like that. For the most part, I think most people are glad that they're where they are, right? They're trying this. It looks like there's potential for it to grow and be a little bit more of a diverse offense. And for the most part, Lamar Jackson's done a good job of knowing when to run, when to pass, and it's worked for them for the most part. But yes, I do believe at the end of the year, at the end of the day, he will still be judged for that. And that's what happens for successful teams, just like the Bills. The Bills are right now statistically a top 10 offense. They just fired their coordinator because the bar is so high for them, right? Everyone's expecting, wait, how come you're not getting there? So, yep, that totally happens. You're the bar raises. It's like moving goalposts, right? But that's our expectations change when you have success. We want more success. We want the next level.
Yep. And I don't think it's unfair necessarily. I don't think it's you don't get to create a new reality. You don't get to say, well, the Ravens stink, like anything like that. But it is okay, it's good, play well, but this is still how you're going to be defined, and that's the nature of the beast, right? Like that's why.
And this is a great year. Yeah, this is a great year for Baltimore though, because I don't feel like everyone is hitting on all of the cylinders. They have a top 5 defense that's been the number 1 defense. And, an offense that's been good. It's sometimes great, sometimes good. So they're in a pretty good spot if they can just hold up and not have too many injuries. And, they should be able to win a playoff game in advance.
You know what? I've felt a lot of those things, and then I just have that fourth quarter thing that kind of creeps in the back of my mind.
It can become real, too. It can become bigger. It can become a thing in your mind, right? And then it can get a little harder.
Like a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you will. No doubt about it. Mike, I'm telling you, please continue this crusade. Please, we need to break the groupthink thought process that so many people have where only a quarterback is allowed to be the end. I don't get it. I'll never get it.
Yeah.
At Sando NFL, of course, is how people can follow you on Twitter. And then you want to plug the podcast?
Absolutely. Football GM podcast is on the Athletic Football Show feed. It's me and it's former NFL Executive of the Year, Randy Mueller, going at things from a little bit of a different angle. Randy goes to some college games. He's a great evaluator. In fact, you know who his number 1 tight end was before a recent draft? It was Isaiah Likely. When no one was talking about him, Randy had him number 1, and a lot of other guys like that. I learned so much from him and his evals on guys like that.
I love Randy. He's one of the nicest guys on the face of the planet, and the two of you together, that is just gold. So make sure you guys are checking that out. And, of course, at The Athletic is where you find him in general. Mike Sando, really appreciate you, man. Thanks for spending a couple of minutes with us this morning.
Hey, thank you. Have a good one.
Mike Sando with us here on GCR. I just don't, even Drew arguing for Travis Kelce this week. I'm like, I get it. Strong argument. Now, to Mike Sando's point, the Chiefs' defense is playing so well that if you're not willing to give it to Mahomes, then what? How do you give it to Kelce if you're saying that their success has been largely predicated on their defense? But there's a strong argument for a team that has no wide receivers. Like, everyone knows where the ball is going when you play the Chiefs, and yet somehow he keeps doing it. And in terms of valuable, that chat that we had the other day, like who's the overall most valuable player, and we were sort of like, well, it's either Aaron Donald or it's Pat Mahomes. Like I some of these wide receivers are special, but like there's also a part of me that says I don't know how separated they are from the other great wide receivers. Tyreek Hill's speed separates him a bit, right? But is Tyreek Hill definitively more valuable than Justin Jefferson? We know definitively that Patrick Mahomes, even among great quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes is separated because he can do things that other great quarterbacks can't do. There are other really good tight ends. Mark Andrews is a really good tight end. George Kittle's a really good tight end. But Travis Kelce has separated himself, even among really good tight ends. So I think there's an argument for that, too. TJ Watt argued, man, if the Steelers keep doing this.
I think for a defensive player, I feel like Myles Garrett is the
but I just
stronger.
don't think it's possible for the Browns to keep doing it, right? Like,
yeah.
I guess if the Steelers can keep doing it,
I mean,
maybe the Browns could keep doing it.
Maybe if they go back to PJ Walker, I don't know.
I
don't believe in DTR. I mean,
that's who they're turning to instead of going to Walker, who looked like he was at least competent when he was playing.
Right.
I
guess maybe you can imagine the ceiling is a little higher with DTR.
It also might be a case of like what's more valuable to them is trying to show that guy can play, and then maybe trying to trade him at the end of the year,
or see if there's something there. I guess, but even though it did not seem,
it's a weird decision to me, man, that they're going to him. All right, when we come back in, we will get a tidbit. We'll get Tuba to wind down. It's a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Why bet with the big boys this football season? Instead, try your hand with the local book, Superbook Sports, this fall. Superbook Sports is the book next door. Just a dedicated team of the best odds makers in Las Vegas, making sure you get the best prices and parlays anywhere. And now, Superbook will give you a bonus of up to $250 when you sign up and wager on the same day and use the promo code GlennClark23, GLENNCLARK23. So bet with the best and use the promo code GlennClark23 this football season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What's up, everyone? It's Tyus Bowser, and I've had so much fun hanging out with Rita and putting up with Glenn the last couple years that I've decided to do it again. Season 3 of the Tyus Bowser Show is happening this year, as we'll be all over town, giving you the chance to get to know me and some of my teammates. As we talk football, life in general, and just say what needs to be said. You can find out more about the show by going to PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser. If you don't live in the area, you can watch the shows live on Facebook and YouTube. And if you miss one, you can listen Friday nights at 105.7 The Fan. So we'll see you all season long for the Tyus Bowser Show, a partnership of PressBox and Great Ace Memorabilia.
The next Tyus Bowser Show is Tuesday, November 21st at Mother's North Grill in Timonium. It's brought to you by Superbook Sports, AJ Michaels, and HelpMyGamblingProblem.org.
There's so much focus on sports betting these days, but I want to talk about an area that nobody wants to gamble on, where you choose to go out and spend your hard-earned dollars to eat. The Costas Inn is no gamble at all. The quality on their menu is outstanding, and the value is off the charts with a great and varied list of specials Monday through Friday. And the staples of the menu, whether it's salads, burgers, fish, they're all fantastic. And I haven't even mentioned the crabs or crab cakes yet. So check out the menu for yourself at CostasInn.com. When choosing a place to dine, never gamble on the food you put in your belly. The Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or call 410-477-1975 for reservations and your steamed crab orders.
What company has the expertise to make your home healthier by purifying your air and killing all viruses, allergens, and bacteria? A.J. Michaels, Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis, ajmichaels.com.
Visit Harford County. Gear up for the holidays by supporting local with Small Business Saturday on November 25th. Take in the dazzling sights of the season with a Ladue Christmas at Ladue Topiary Gardens. Enjoy holiday lights, sing along to holiday songs, reserve a carriage ride, and sit on Santa's lap in Bel Air's Winter Wonderland, happening every Saturday from November 25th until December 16th. Nothing sparks that holiday joy quite like a festive parade. Head to visitharford.com and click on Events to see the full list of parades and so much more. In Maryland, you're welcome.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Sure, Glenn may be in his 40s now, but he looks just as good as he ever has, and he's still as sharp as he ever was. And I say both those things without even a shred of irony. Find out for yourself right now by watching the show at facebook.com/PressBoxSports or youtube.com/PressBoxOnline.
All right, winding down for a Thursday edition of the program. Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by the print issue of PressBox. It is available for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find PressBox. You can read it all, PressBoxOnline.com. You see right there on the cover, great cover story from Todd Karpovich about the survivors, the position players from the last regime, the Dan Duquette regime, that stuck through the dark years and ended up being a significant part of the Orioles' turnaround. Hayes, Mullins, Santander, Mountcastle. Also great reflections about the life of Brooks Robinson and college basketball content in this print issue of PressBox. Go get it right now.
Cedric Mullins, one of the legends of the game tonight.
That's right, Cedric Mullins. Well, he's going to be the honorary team captain.
Right, okay.
And then the legend is Carmelo Anthony.
That's
who,
right,
of course, finally recently announced his official retirement from the NBA. So, cool.
Yes.
I think it's cool, right? Like, I'm down with both of them. Neither one of them are Ravens, but, it's cool. It's very cool.
So Blake Snell, he won the National
and of course,
League.
Big Boy at halftime.
Yes, right. Big night.
Very sad. I got in touch with Big Boy's management, and he wasn't going to do any interviews this week. They said next time. I said I'm not okay.
I'm really coming around to like these Amazon Prime broadcasts. Like, I mean, I thought it was just like they've done a good job of kind of making it the spectacle that it kind of has become.
Until Al Michaels doesn't care and Kirk Herbstreit has no cachet.
And that's true.
It's an awkward thing, right? Because Kirk Herbstreit's a fine football analyst, but he's the least cachet of anyone involved with the broadcast, and he's the one doing Tony Gonzalez is on the pregame and would be
any one of those guys.
Any of them,
yeah,
would have more cachet than Kirk Herbstreit doing a game, and it just feels like it gets immediately small the moment they go to the booth. In part because Al Michaels doesn't care. Now tonight's a big game, so maybe he'll still he'll
everything.
Care
He's been
tonight.
saving it. He's been saving it all season.
Like Al's been completely checked out, and Kirk Herbstreit isn't the right analyst to bring it out of him. There are guys that I think if you paired them with Al Michaels, he'd bring it out of him. But it ain't Kirk Herbstreit.
Right.
He just doesn't. It's always felt like you don't go here. You can't. You don't have the stories. You don't have and he always falls back on. When it gets to the point where he's trying to give some background, it's always related to, in college football. I'm like, it just feels so out of place. It feels like you're a tourist involved with it. And, you don't hear from him during the week. Because he's got to work 1,000 jobs. He can only do so much media. I can't get over it.
But I feel like I care about it. It was Carolina and Chicago last week, and I still
you're the one.
had to watch it.
But
I feel like back when it was
when
it was a random CBS game or a Fox game, I felt like it was a lot easier when you saw it was Bears. Whoever, Bears Washington, he was just I'm not going to turn that on. And I just felt like I didn't. But when it's the Amazon Prime, I do kind of want to see, what's Fitzpatrick going to say? What's Whitworth? I feel like there is some draw. And the Ravens are making it a big event. They have all these people coming out.
Your post-game show. I'm just not watching those shows. The only one of those that I watch is
at halftime, but
is during the NBA playoffs. I'll watch
TNT.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the list of those shows that I'll watch. And, again, even that requires it being a really good game, right? You get a really good game or a really bizarre moment, what's his face?
They were choking out. I think they did a choke out.
Well, they did that. But I don't watch the regular season. I'm not going to watch that show. But what was the year? Who threw the ball away in the finals for Cleveland in the end of the game? J.R. Smith, right?
Yeah.
I was so furious that there wasn't an Inside the NBA to turn into afterwards. I remember tweeting about it incessantly. They should be forced to do a post-game show even when they don't have coverage. As a country, we shouldn't have to suffer through ESPN's awful presentation of the NBA. We should be able to have those guys and their cachet in moments like that matter. So, it's a fine thing. Dude, the week that they did the bit where they did the Stanford Cal trivia show afterwards, when they did a 49ers game on Thursday Night Football, and Andrew Luck came out as Captain Andrew Luck or whatever.
Right.
That was good shtick. Now, I had given up. I had stopped watching live. I had to see about it on Twitter and watch the video there. But that was good shtick. I just, post game, I won't watch it.
I feel like they're doing it right, I guess.
God bless. I care about the game. Get the game right, and that's the part that's bothersome to me, is that they just continue. It's like they owe it to Kirk Herbstreit somehow. We told him he was going to have.
I feel like he'd be okay. Well, I mean, I don't know.
I don't know what capacity. Oh, he clearly wanted that to be involved with the NFL. That's obvious. But it's just, it's not a thing, man. I don't know how to compare it. I wouldn't want to. when the ESPN does, I don't know if they still do it, but they did like the college basketball NBA crossover broadcast, and they're like, now Jay Billis is going to go do the NBA. I was like, I've not been sitting here waiting for Jay Billis's thoughts on the NBA. I'm just not. That's not a thing that I'm asking for. The NBA people, I want you to have better NBA people. That's what I want you to do. Like, I don't want you to just keep putting together a panel of Stephen A. Smith and Michael Wilbon and saying, here's our NBA coverage. That's dreck. Get good NBA coverage. It's not hard. I mean, like, spend the money that way. Stop spending money on Stephen A. Smith.
Hey,
Why does everybody
Carmelo
like
Anthony need something to do?
Carmelo Anthony, I don't know how it, but he certainly has the cachet. There's no it's not just cachet. You still have to have personality. You still have to like Charles Barkley is a unicorn, right? If that was just Shaq and there was no Charles Barkley, it wouldn't be as good as it is. Charles Barkley has made that show, and there is someone who's both a Hall of Fame caliber player and a Hall of Fame caliber personality is. You come into one of them ever, right? Like, ever. I don't know what it would be like if they put Marshawn Lynch on the panel. I think they use Marshawn Lynch well with Amazon, but, like, I don't know if he would care enough to be good on the panel. I would love to give it a shot because he's certainly that's the type of guy that we're talking about that would have the cachet.
Yeah, hell, just put him in the booth with
that would be
with Al.
I mean, that would be
actually
amazing.
Don't do a three-man booth.
I really wish they would do that. I really wish they would. All right.
So Blake Snell, he won the National League Cy Young. He is the only pitcher in history to win multiple Cy Youngs but not make multiple All-Star teams. He's won multiple Cy Youngs. Yeah. His only All-Star was 2018.
It also goes back, we talk about this every year around the All-Star game, like the absurdity of how we measure people by their All-Stars when they're
it's like, this guy's a 10-time.
In a 162-game season. It's a 162-game season. And we measure people's careers by the number of times and the Major League Baseball is trying to do like the all MLB team, and it just hasn't caught on. Like that should be we should be capable of understanding that type of thing, a full season honor, should be what we come up with instead of, well, he's been an All-Star 5 times. Well, what if he was an All-Star in every one of those seasons he fell apart in the second half of the year?
He finished batting 200.
Right.
Well, that reason he was not an All-Star this year. He started the season 1-6. Blake Snell did. He's the first pitcher in baseball history to win the Cy Young after being 5 games under 500 at any point in the season. So, congrats to Snellzilla.
Cool.
38 years old, LeBron. He is the second oldest player in NBA history to record a triple-double. Who's the oldest?
I don't know.
40 years old when he did it.
40 years.
Yeah, he's not still 40.
Thank you. 40-year-old who recorded triple-double? Man, I mean, like, at this point, you just got to think of who was 40 and still playing basketball. Was Steve Nash somehow getting a triple-double?
No, it was not Steve Nash. It was in 2003. He was 40 years old. He was also playing for the Lakers.
Karl Malone.
Karl Malone, yes. Karl Malone. Do you think LeBron can topple him?
Great guy.
Since there have been 2 defensive players to win the NFL MVP, since this is what we've been talking about.
It was Alan Page, right?
Correct.
And, oh, God damn it, I know who the other one is.
Yeah, and you...
S. I almost said it.
Yeah.
No, because this was at trivia one time.
Oh, okay.
And it was funny because I knew the first one immediately, and I struggled on Alan Page. Damn it! It's somebody significant. I know that.
It is.
It's somebody very significant. Oh, this is going to drive me nuts. Don't.
Just start reading off his accolades.
Keep it in your effing pants. It was Lawrence Taylor, right?
It was, in fact, Lawrence Taylor.
I was between Lawrence Taylor and Dick Butkus, and that was what I was struggling with.
Lawrence Taylor and Alan Page, and then the only special teams player to win the MVP.
There was a special teams player?
I know, I had no clue.
Wait. Was it George Blanda and like it only... No.
He was a kicker.
A kicker won NFL MVP?
1982 was when. Yeah, I don't know how this.
Wait, it was Mark Mosley?
Mark Mosley.
I thought he was Super Bowl MVP. Mark Mosley was the MVP of the league?
Yeah.
I got
AP
nothing for
NFL
that.
Mark Mosley.
I got
That's what we should
be
be campaigning for.
A kicker to be MVP? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
We'll do one more here. Since Corbin Carroll became the Rookie of the Year, he became the 26th player to play in the World Series the same year that he won Rookie of the Year. Can you name? He is the 10th to do it in the wild card era. Can you name the other?
Say that one more time.
He played in the World Series the same year he won Rookie of the Year. He's the 10th to do it in the wild card era.
No chance I can name these guys. Why
well,
don't we?
Well, I did think there was a chance.
Not a chance. It's like asking me to remember who
Wild card
won
era
Rookie
since
of the Year
'94.
every year.
Since '94. Well, these guys are notable.
Great, they're notable. Thank you. Is there an Astro?
There is one Astro.
Was it Alvarez?
It was Jordan Alvarez in 2019. Well done.
Is there a Yankee?
There is one Yankee.
Is it Jeter?
It was Jeter in '96.
Is there a Red Sox?
There is one Red Sox.
Pedroia?
Yes, Dustin Pedroia in 2007.
Is there a Cub?
There is not a Cub.
Is there a Dodger?
There is not a Dodger. Sorry, there is one Dodger. Yes, sorry.
Seager?
Not Seager. Think he debuted the year before this? Yeah. Like Seager debuted, so yeah.
Oh, Bellinger.
Cody Bellinger in 2017. Both of the Rookies of the Year in 2010 played each other in the World Series.
God damn it. That was 10 was St. Louis, Texas?
That was 11, so it was, I think,
San Francisco, Texas.
San Francisco, Texas.
Is that Posey?
Buster Posey from the National League for the Giants.
Josh Hamilton?
No, I had no clue this guy won Rookie of the Year. He was a reliever.
There's no chance.
Yeah, you should know, but good reliever for the Rangers in the early 20s.
Feliz.
Nefertari Feliz. I did not know he won Rookie of the Year. And then you got 1, 2, 3 more. A Ray, a Tiger, and a Marlin.
Longoria?
Evan Longoria, in 2008.
Tiger.
A Tiger and a Marlin.
What year would that have been? That would have been 06.
Yes, correct.
It's not Price.
It was not Price. It was a pitcher.
Oh, Verlander.
Justin Verlander in 2006. And then
Marlin and a red, you say?
Just a Marlin. That's the last one.
Marlin. Oh, did we get the red? Oh, we said a Ray.
A Ray, yeah.
Red. A Marlin. So it's either 97 or...
He was a red at one point.
Oh, good. 97 or 03. The 97 team was all veterans. I'm guessing it was an 03 Marlin.
It was an 03 Marlin.
Who is an 03? It wasn't Beckett. Beckett was... that was the reason why they won the World Series, though. Brad Penny?
Not Brad Penny. It is a pitcher.
Carl Pavano?
Not Carl Pavano.
03 Marlins pitcher. I don't know.
Good nickname. He ended his. Let's see. He was 03 to 07 with the Marlins.
Oh, Dontrell Willis. Dontrell Willis.
D-Train. Dontrell Willis.
All right,
there you go.
very
Good job. Got it all.
I needed a lot of help in order to get there. God. All right, very good. Tubular is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today. Here's what's coming up totally tubular-wise this evening. Of course, Amazon Prime Video for Ravens-Bengals, 8:15. If you are not an Amazon Prime subscriber, you're in luck locally. You can watch it on ABC 2. Although, if I remember correctly from last year, like it's like purposely like a couple plays behind. Like it's not just like the way. If I remember correctly, the TV broadcast was behind the Amazon broadcast.
Well,
almost
I'm gonna be at the radio station, so that means I'm gonna be.
You can pull it up on a computer.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it's not all that hard. know what we're doing here. Fox Sports 1, UConn women take on Maryland at 6:30. ESPN 2 is where you find, of course, Griffin immediately put basketball on. These were the days when I was a kid in
Maui or the Myrtle Beach. Sorry,
Maui's next week.
Right.
These were the days where like you knew you had a cool teacher in high school, and like you knew there was college basketball during the day. You could be like, "Hey, man."
They do it for like feast week and.
Oh man, I could definitely convince some teachers. Like when I was in high school and like I was cool with the teacher, because like you would be like running the yearbook. You know,
they called you Cool Glenn, Cool Glenn Clark.
No, not me. The teachers that were cool. Like you knew who they were. In our it was Mr. Evanovsky.
Oh.
No, it was Miss Evanovsky, sorry. And Mr. God, what the hell was his name? That's
Smith.
No, he's a big college basketball fan. Like he was Mr. Greenberg.
Ah.
Right? Was that him?
Seth Greenberg?
No, I don't think it was Seth Greenberg. But he was a huge Maryland basketball fan. So like when Maryland was playing in one of these events, you could definitely convince him to do it. And then from that point,
he just left it on.
He just kind of didn't care. Like
what, Charleston and Vermont are playing?
Yeah, right. Like, it was awesome.
This is a good game. Well,
sure. Houston Towson coming up today at 6:30 on ESPN2.
That'll be a good one.
Yeah, I hope that's part of the Charleston Classic. Basketball all day long on the ESPN networks. You can find it all at GlennClarkRadio.com. Look, tonight you're watching the Ravens. I'm not even going to go. You find everything else at Glenn Clark Radio. They're announcing but the good news is the Towson game starts at 6:30 and the Maryland women start at 6:30, so you can watch the bulk of those games before the Ravens begin. So I would encourage you to do that. Mm-hmm. Non-sports.
Kimmel, I guess following the Ravens game on ABC, will be with Emma Stone and Nathan Fielder as they continue to talk about the curse. Yep. You have to have Showtime or Paramount Plus with Showtime. So good luck.
Sorry.
Jason Momoa will be on Fallon. And Chris Tucker will be on Seth Meyers.
Is this the week he's hosting Saturday Night Live?
This is yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yep. Tate McRae and Jason Momoa on SNL. Chris Tucker on Seth Meyers, and then on Netflix. Okay, never mind. It's just another Hallmark movie. It's called Best Christmas Ever.
Okay, very good. Very good. I mean, the U.S. men's national team plays tonight in the Nations League. That gets underway again. They take on Trinidad and Tobago. But again, you'll be watching the Ravens.
What time is that one? That was at 8?
It's at 9.
9,
unfortunately. They'll announce the MVPs at 6 o'clock on MLB Network. Then go find it. It's all at GlennClarkRadio.com.
Busy night.
There. Yep. All right, thanks today to Mike Sando. Thanks to Robert Randolph. Thanks to TJ Houshmandzadeh and to Ken Zalis. We'll get all of it up in the greatest hits section of the
Oh, my God, it's so good.
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow, Stan will be in. Bo will join us. And hopefully something else to discuss what we hope will be a Ravens victory. You think we can... You think Stan can handle doing pats on the ass or slaps to the helmet, or do you think it'll be? I just feel like they got it. What? There have to be 2.
We'll break it down with him, and
we'll see.
I think he can do it
tomorrow.
I have a lot of faith.
I hope so. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Guilford Hall Brewery, Mother's North Grill, Live Casino and Hotel, AJ Michaels, Royal Farms, Costa Sin, Superbook Sports, Harford County, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Thursday evening. Go Ravens, go Towson, go Maryland women. Duke sucks.